Hello. Hello. I am your host, Eight Wind is Timeless. Welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. It all starts with a gentle sadness. I am your galactic daddy-o, sitting on my terrace pyramid galactic patio, welcoming one and all to come get some of this funk. Had a few technical, not really technical, last minute experiments, I guess you could call it. And so I'm running a little late. And I know everybody's a little down after the Super Bowl. It's always kind of a, what the hell? Everybody's a little down from the Super Bowl. Oh, interesting. This would be good enough. Shit. That ain't that big a deal. That was rude. What's happening to one? Rich Clown, what's happening? Yeah, I'm a little late tonight. Well, I think Edward Bailey said it right. Time Lord is never late, which is true. I'm not really late. It's just kind of running on my own time. And so it took me a few seconds to get it all together. And so I'm all together. Welcome one and all. Brother James, thank you for joining me. Oh, and we are giving a special commercial shout out to Excelsior Brewing Company in Excelsior, Minnesota. We like their bitter shopple. It is very good. So drink them if you want them, smoke them if you got them. You know you want it because you know you got to have it. Figuring somewhere to put all this stuff. This beer, I've been messing around over here, so the beer probably ain't even cold. But it smells good. How was everybody Monday? Just to show you we don't be playing up here. It is the real deal cold up here. It is no exaggeration. -9 with a wind chill factor of -20. I was just looking, there's a place in Minnesota where it's -40. Do you know that Minnesota gets colder than Alaska sometimes? Let me see if I saved this. I think there was a place in Minnesota that was -40 today. Do you know what -40 is like? It's like tonight, if I threw hot coffee in the air, it wouldn't freeze. But a truly -40, you throw hot coffee in the air, it'll freeze before it hits the ground. Oh, everybody joined at once. Brisk Clown, thank you. Don't think that's Miami. It's definitely not. Jet Ski, thank you. Minnesota. Shannon Sharp looks sad or undisputed. You know, they only showed 30 minutes of it, and I went and did something. Forgot to watch. I didn't catch it this morning. I definitely down south this cold also I saw. Hey, JR Smooth, thank you for joining me. Let me see. Did I put what city that is? Oh, I didn't. I was gonna post it and I didn't post it. But here it is. Yeah, I never heard of this place. It's called Cotton, Minnesota. It's 43 degrees below zero. Yesterday, it was the coldest place on the planet. The national highs and lows off the National Weather Prediction Center in College Park, Maryland. Monday at 1 p.m., they rated this at 43 degrees below zero. And so it's somewhere in the state. I don't know. But I know normally the coldest place on Earth is normally Frostbite Falls. And those of you that remember Rocky and Bullwinkle, it's funny, you see all them names. Whoever was the creators of Rocky and Bullwinkle, the people even remember who Rocky and Bullwinkle was. They use all these Wisconsin names and Minnesota names. So Frostbite Falls, Minnesota. And I know some people may only know Rocky and Bullwinkle through that weak movie. Was that movie in the 80s or 90s? It was a movie. It's a Geico commercial now that shows the flying squirrel and Bullwinkle. Cotton, Minnesota. That's right. Hey, Lorenzo. Everybody in the chat. We getting rain here in the South. Oh, in Mississippi. Ooh. Matter of fact, I think we might be planning a trip with one of my friends to Mississippi. So I'll let you know on the heads up of that, because his mother lives down there. I want to go down there and see if we can get some land for one. My cousin is down there already. She's near Macon, though. He knows it all is fake. Shannon was sick. I didn't catch it. I saw, because you know what they do here? If you don't catch it in the morning, what they do is they show a half hour in the afternoon. So if you watch the betting show and I had to go do something or did something and missed the half hour, so I didn't see him today. Yeah, you remember? Right. So they used all these. So if as you drive through Wisconsin going from east to west, you see all these names that they used on Rocky and Bullwinkle, and Frostbite Falls is one of them. But they used all the Wisconsin names, and they used that one Minnesota name. So, but yeah, so it's not a lot going on. It's funny for the children not to go to school. It's got to be minus 20 wind, not wind chill, just minus 20. So the children still go out and play. Unless it's minus 20, you better bring your snow. It's funny. Now the pants they call the winter pants used to be called snowmobile pants. Kind of thing that when I was a child, you wore long underwear. You didn't wear the pant. And the problem it was you would still get wet. So with the new type of snowmobile pants, you don't get wet when you play outside. And that was a very common thing when I went to school. A lot of people bring 2 pair of pants because my age was kind of the long underwear. And then you wear jeans or whatever your pants were. But you would get wet if you played. Coat wouldn't get wet, but your legs would get wet. So the children still went out and played. Again, they're going to school up here in the Great White North. We've got snow everywhere. I was talking to a couple of people this morning. They said some people slid off the road this morning because trying to go too fast. You see SUVs that not taking their time and try to go too fast and end up in the ditch. Because there's a thing called black ice that's a real thing. And if you don't pay attention, you can hit some black ice. I'm going to give you an example. I was pulling out of my driveway. And while pulling out of my driveway, I hit some ice. I stopped. I hit some ice and started sliding. And there was a car coming. And really, I really thought I was going to hit the car, to be honest. I had to use a little magic. And again, I had to hit the brakes enough to make the anti-lock brakes come up. Even though my car is 05, it still has anti-lock brakes. So I know how to manipulate the brakes. And so what I was trying to do is manipulate them so it would somewhere, because my car is all-wheel drive. So somewhere, if I can get some pavement, the anti-lock brakes start, what they do for you is they start doing like this for you. Many little pumps and mini pumps. And so finally, the back of me, I felt hit something dry and it caught. But I was like just zooming right into traffic. And I don't live on a really busy street, but the timing. And so I had to pull a little magic out and the car worked with me. So luckily I didn't run into anything. Yes, PJ, definitely. Will Tampa Bay do it again next year? They are pumping that up. Just as what they did to Mahomes, I don't think they're going to let Brady do it again next year. It depends on, I think it really all depends on this Yogi Berra thing. Are they really trying to push for him to be Yogi Berra and get the 10? I think it's not realistic to get the Russell, but he would have to, win 4 years in a row? He'd have to win the next 4 to catch Russell. Because right now, if you watch that little short I did of Gronk is trying to say the greatest. They're trying to say that him switching teams at his age was the greatest performance of all time. Again, they want to put this created person. Now, Tom Brady is just as created as Steph Curry, maybe even more so. Steph Curry had basket manipulation. Now, what did we see in the game against the Packers? We saw no penalties called until the end of the game, the penalty that helped Brady. What did we see in the first half last night? 8 penalties to 1, all penalties that helped Brady. So do you see what they did? Like the Packer game, holding is allowed the whole game, but when it came time to win the game, they called the holding penalty that benefited the Patriots. And yesterday with the 8 penalties to 1, nowhere is that the same. Nowhere. You can call holding on every play. And so that's been Brady's whole career. Again, you have to go back to the Tuck rule that created him. The Tuck rule created him. Matter of fact, if you even see the interview back then, he can't even say anything because he knew he fumbled. But Roger Goodell, who wasn't the commissioner at the time, it was still Talibou. They were still mad at Al Davis. I want to say that Pete Rozelle had died. And it's funny, Pete Rozelle was the second commissioner of the NFL, started in 1960. 3-pack-a-day dude. Dude dies of brain cancer in his 60s. His wife is sitting there saying he smoked 3 packs a day. Didn't die of lung cancer, he died of brain cancer. And so we see how they scripted his career. Now, did everybody, let me see where I put this because I don't think I put it. Did you guys catch what Brady said about his wife today? Let me see if this is in here. Did I put it here? Did I put it somewhere else? Oh, I can erase one of these. Okay. No, it's not here. Let me see if I put it on my other page. Thought I put it there, but it might be on my other page. It was something interesting Brady said, and I'm sure some of y'all might have caught this too. And I remember pretty much by heart if it's not in here. Right here. Tom Brady says his wife is a good witch. He basically says, Brady, where'd it go? The rest of it. Oh, okay. Now remember, she's a German, or probably Eastern Bloc chick, but she's a German. She has made a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. She puts together a little altar for me so I can bring with me pictures of my children. I have little special stones and healing stones and protection stones. She has me wear this necklace. I take these drops she makes. Isn't that wouldn't drops be performance enhancing? All these and take these drops she makes, and I say all these mantras, and I stopped questioning her a long time ago. The audience was laughing, and he says, I'm glad that she's a good witch. So see, they're admitting their wickedness. They ain't positive. Remember, they go to that American art gala when they wear all them different outfits. Roger Goodell mean that shit. She shames black quarterback. And they never go back to Super Bowl after they get shamed. Draco Tunes, Brady just stated he was back. Cotton, Minnesota, slightly northwest of Duluth. Let me bring that back. Slightly northwest of Lake Superior, Highway 53 south of the Canadian border, presented by the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank you. Slightly northwest. How is that possible? Because Duluth is connected to Superior. Duluth, Minnesota, and Superior, Wisconsin are connected. So it's probably next to Duluth. Okay, that makes sense. And Duluth is, we went to Duluth in June for my birthday about 10 years ago. It was like 87, 88 in Minneapolis. We got down there on Lake Superior. We took a boat ride. It was so cold, we had to go inside the boat. It was so cold on Lake Superior. Lake Superior is water that people generally don't swim in. It never warms up. Very deep. I think it's the deepest of all of them, but it's cold up there. But it kind of reminds you, if you've ever driven into San Francisco, it kind of reminds you where you see like the houses kind of on how can I describe it? Like in the hills, you kind of see if you pull up into it, you kind of see it's a hilly town, and you see the way the houses are on the hills and the apartments. Somewhat, if you've been to both, you kind of can compare it. And some parts of it does. Duluth is not very big, but it's some nasty weather up there. It gets cold. It gets cold, cold, cold up there. So yeah, I've never been to there. But yeah, Duluth, you can just drive right over to Wisconsin. That's why when they wasn't selling beer here or fireworks, people 5-minute drive to go by Wisconsin. The Draco in here, I didn't see. Brady is initiated, might even belong to the bloodlines. That's what I'm thinking. I think one time Jody said something where he might have some of that the Grove connection with Brady. That he might, because he is from California. And that Grove place, I can't think of the first name of it, but he might have some connection there. I think Jody and I had that conversation one time before. Image footage of Brady being initiated. He's not a Knights of the Malta yet, though, and I'm saying yet. Like Pennsylvania, very hilly, somewhat, yeah, somewhat. Draco Rogers and Mahomes would deal with that Drake curse now. You could be a polar bear challenge up there. Yeah, you definitely could, Crazy Sarge. You definitely could. Does MVP get a bonus? Yes. Well, the MVP generally gets a car. Generally, a car goes with it, but that's all in your contract. But yeah, you would get a bonus. You get a bonus for making the Pro Bowl. You get a bonus for making one of the All-Pro teams. If you make All-Pro first team, you even get more money. So yeah. So now if you mean for his Super Bowl check, no, that's not a bonus in the Super Bowl check, but it would be a bonus as far as his incentives in his contract. Those would be incentive driven things that if he hit them, he would get the money for incentive driven. I think the winner gets 300,000, the loser gets 100. So, but yeah, I don't know why this damn thing hesitated, but it did. Brady ain't a natural human. They either killed the real Brady and cloned him, or he's fully on MK Ultra. Well, remember the show he was on though about cloning. Remember that? And he asked Brady, how many times have you done this? And Brady says, this is my 6th time. So, and Draco, you got to do more investigating in synthetics. Synthetics is a real thing too. There's clones and there's synthetics. So look into synthetics. He could be a synthetic. Be a little easier. Cloning is not as synthetic is a quicker process than making a clone. Cloning is going to take a little more time. Step-ins, synthetics and step-ins. Bohemian Grove. Thank you, Ethan. That's what I was looking for. I think Jody said he is touched with that a little bit. No way he's still getting all those accolades. Yeah, that comes with that money though. That's part of your contract. He might have got $1 million incentive for being MVP. He see the way it goes is each playoff game too. Not only you get money for each. So you win the first round, you get more. You win the second round, you get more. Then you win the Super Bowl, you get more. So every playoff game, you get extra money, but it also hits the incentives in your contract. So that's where he probably got out really nice. And it's not like, his contract, and he don't, really Brady doesn't have a lot of advertisements either, which is interesting. But his woman is one of the richest women in the world, so he had to sacrifice the whole block for those rings. But yeah, 6 times if you saw that movie, Crazy Sarge. What's the difference between a synthetic and a clone? A synthetic can actually be created out of some human, but not, it's human in other things. It is human in other things. Whereas a clone is just straight up human tissue. A synthetic is made out of human tissue and other things that they can make viable. And we know, they do a test on your blood to see how much plastic is in your system. I thought that was really weird, but this is the difference between the two. A synthetic can be created quicker, and they can mass produce those quicker. Cloning takes longer. Cloning is a period that's going to take longer. I haven't found where they can accelerate cloning. That is why at times they show you they have to clone a lot of them, and they'll have a lot of stock. They'll have clones in backup so they can use their parts. Synthetics, see, from a clone, you can grow a clone just to use his body parts. Synthetics is not going to be used in that matter. Synthetic is almost like a step-in, so that is basically the difference between the two. The step-in has to do, hey, Edward Bailey, what's happening? A step-in would be possession or possessing another being. A synthetic is, he doesn't have anything internal that's real. It's all made to work, and you just what was the stuff? Altered Carbon was on Netflix, where they was just putting a little thing in you and you did up. And so they are able to make bodies without internal organs that they can put consciousness into and it functions. Somewhat even a little bit looking at the Terminator, maybe that was a little bit of it too. Don't fall. Fuck. Shit. Man, I did the shit again. God damn it. Well, that was very unfortunate. That was very unfortunate. Let me get that. Dang. Oh. It'll probably still work. So that's the little difference. Oh, LeBron did. I watched Matthew's a great act. Michael Jackson had multiple synthetics. Could be CJ, really could be. Because you see with the nose thing and everything, Rodgers is a whole Jew. They ain't gonna keep him dirty. They ain't gonna keep doing him dirty. They're gonna keep that Brett Favre argument going. Yeah, so he's not greater than Brett Favre. Neither one of them is better than Bart Starr. Remember, Starr won 5 championships and 2 Super Bowls, I think. Or did he win 3 championships and 2 Super Bowls? Maybe Bart Starr won 3 NFL championships and 2 Super Bowls. They lost 60. I think they won 61, 62, 63, 64. Yeah, I want to say they won. They might have won 5 NFC championships. I'd have to grab my book over there. I'm not sure. Because they didn't win in 64. That was Jim Brown's championship in 64. So they didn't win there. Step in possession. Sir Sever spiritual attachment. Yeah. There's no spiritual in it. No, none at all. Where clone might have it in his DNA where there's a little bit of a spiritual in it. Where, yeah, step in is not going to, or a synthetic is not going to have a soul. It's liquid cooled CPU from Microsoft with synthetic tissue on the outside. Yeah. Like I was saying before, when I worked at Pfizer, the company that's now Pfizer, we made artificial, and the people that were in the military know what I'm talking about. We made there's an like when people would get open wounds, we made this stuff that comes from pigs, and you put it on the wound, and it goes right into the wound. It gives you like a type of skin that comes from pigs, and you have like pieces that big, you have pieces small. They have all different sizes, and that's the stuff they would put on you. We made this for the military when I was working at Pfizer. We made this stuff for the military. This wasn't for civilian use. Rodgers win 2, 5-1. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes built like a woman. Cade, that's funny. Is Warren Moon a top 5 quarterback of all time? I guess if you go by winning, he didn't really win in America, but he did win overall in his career. I mean, his records match anyone. This is what been his shortfall, and I would even say the way Eddie Robertson taught James Harris. The shortfall would be, and Doug Williams was the same way, as Warren Moon was a stiff stand there dude. When he was younger in Canada, because of the bigger field, he would roll the pocket a little bit, but not in the NFL. He was just stand up, no mobility, no scrambling. And you see, this is how they was raised. Steve McNair was really kind of the same way. He had escapability, but Warren Moon didn't really have that. He didn't really have that escapability. They would roll his pocket a little bit, but not much. Top 5, I don't know. I don't know if it just depends on where if you're saying a good, competent quarterback, he could be considered. But I mean, is he above Marino? Would he be above Roger Staubach, won 2 Super Bowls? Would he be above Elway? Terry Bradshaw? Montana? Would he be above any of those 5? I don't know. I don't know if he'd be above those. I would put him up. I don't even know if I would put him in front of Roger Staubach. He was a pure passer, but Roger Staubach had escapability. And let's keep in mind, Roger Staubach won the Heisman as a junior, 62. I think he graduated from college in 63, 64. You know, Roger Staubach didn't play pro football because he went to Vietnam. I think his rookie year was 68, 69, somewhere in there. So Roger Staubach, a lot of his good years, it's like what they did to Willie Mays. They took 5 years away from Willie Mays and put him in the Army. He got drafted. 5 years was taken from Willie Mays of his peak years. Wouldn't give him deferment, made him stay in the Army. So I don't know. Skin grafts. Yeah. But this stuff is like, this stuff is, it is a type of skin graft, but this stuff is like mobile stuff. Yeah. Kodak Black is cloned or synthetic. Like, why would they care though? That's my thing is, really, did they, like, his MO was already going to jail. Now he can't really go back to jail. He's pretty much pardoned for everything. So what would be next? Because he really couldn't act a fool. He pretty much is going to be pardoned for everything. It's kind of what a pardon does. It pardons you for life. Could be, but is he that important? Is he really that important? That would be my only thing. You still don't learn your lesson. Keep betting against the Golden Boy. I don't think did you bet against him? You didn't bet with Brady? I bet with Brady. I mean, I got screwed over in the points, but not in betting. I won a couple $100 in Brady winning. It was the first time I ever bet with him. Brady won their 28th Super Bowl. So when the NFC 10s, 56 was 11, they get 29th Super Bowl win. Steve McNair was the GOAT. I would put Steve McNair and Warren Moon pretty close, with Moon having the stronger arm, more accurate. But McNair was raised in that again. He was raised in that be straight up. You know, not being a he was the statue. That's how he was raised, to be the statue. Even when he played at Alcorn, he was running straight, run and shoot, spread, run and shoot. And run and shoot, you're not really a mobile quarterback, other than what they would do is, depending on which hash you would be in, you might take some steps to the right and set and throw, or steps to the left and set and throw. That was kind of how you would move your pocket on run and shoot, depending on the rush you're anticipating. Because again, remember, run and shoot, they kind of keep wide lanes sometimes, especially when you're looking at a draw. And there's times that the splits are cut down, but a lot of times the splits are wide, passing splits. And so when run and shoot, you might slightly roll to your right or left. And he was good at that. But again, he was the stiff kind of, that's how, like Doug Williams was the same exact way. Stiff, can't really get away. You know, Doug Williams really only had the Super Bowl. The next season, he was crying on TV because he wasn't starting. Rodgers ain't even on the same level as Big Ben. Super Bowl 55, scored field goal design, garbage compared to the last Super Bowl. Tampa Bay versus Steelers. Yeah, it wasn't a very exciting game at all. It was pretty obvious Brady would win. I had to bet with him. Me too, certified. I bet with him too. They already shamed Lamar. Yeah, but sometimes that shaming lasts a whole career. It's players they shame their whole career. Lamar got has been in the Super Bowl. Oh, I didn't know that. Gronk, Brady, Antonio Brown, Pat Mahomes all got rings. Yes, they do. Yep, Antonio Brown and Mahomes won in a way. Warren Moon ran run and shoot in Houston. Because all Canadian football is pretty much run and shoot. You have what, 6 receivers up there? Because they have 12 players. So you have 6 eligible receivers, or 7, something like that. So all Canadian is run and shoot. Who did he have down there? Wasn't Bum Phillips still down there when he first went down there? Wasn't it Bum Phillips that was in Houston? I could be wrong. I thought Bum Phillips, he didn't run and shoot though. Maybe Bum was gone. Who would have been Houston's coach? I don't remember who would have been coach then. Rest of his career. After that, he would choke. So Lamar might win one. I bet against the Patriots and lost. Yeah, James, I'd like to know who coached him under the run and shoot. I don't really remember. Because they didn't, when he ran here, they didn't run and shoot when he was here in the Minnesota. That was towards the end of his career. I was trying to remember Houston, because I had a guy that played with him. Bostic played with him. Sad guy. Went to Michigan, played with Houston, ended up on the street smoking crack. Do I think every NFL player is a Mason? It wouldn't be important to everyone. I don't think all of them. All of them don't get initiated. All of them not going to be picked. So I don't know. It just depends on their character and how important they are to society. Warren Moon had Lorenzo White, Ernest Givens, Hayward Jeffries. Was that him? Because it was one of them Houston receivers I played against, Michael something. He talked shit to me because I dropped a touchdown, could have won the game, and he had a great game. Whoever this cat, I can't remember. Michael something that played with Moon and on that Houston team, and I saw him drop a game winner in the pros. I kind of laughed, but he talked shit to me. He wouldn't even shake my hand. He's like, he was mad they lost for one, and we still won, even though I dropped the ball. We still won, but he said you need to get some hands. That's what the nigga told me. Ravens versus Packers, Brown versus Panthers. Draco, when does the bets got to be in for next year? It's coming up where the cutoff is on the next year, because to make the most money, you got to bet in the next week or so. If you make the team that you think going to be in the Super Bowl, when is that cutoff? Crazy thing score was, so subtract 9 from 31, you get 22, and Chiefs record became 2-2. There you go. Super Bowl 56 equals Lamar Jackson, Rodgers numbers up to 11. Wow, good decode. Broncos 2-0 against NFC South, and Bucks 2-0 against AFC West in Super Bowl. Good one, King Kane. Wow. Good decode. Very good decode. But I know it's a certain, you get like the further away from the event you bet, the more the return. Packers win their 5th Super Bowl and their 6th appearance for Super Bowl 56. That's a nice decode. That's a real nice decode. But I saw the Timberwolves get handled by Dallas tonight. Timberwolves is like 7-15 or 16. And I almost, let me tell you who, local pro teams have little things. Now, Josh Okogie, and I should have made a video on it. Josh Okogie was on the show. The only difference between Josh Okogie speaking and his speaking pattern and Kobe is Josh Okogie is from Nigeria. And that makes it even more wondering, because that you look in the face, that's Kobe in the face. But even their mannerisms, like he was talking about his shoe collection, and to tell you how country he was. And this is for everybody out there. If you don't know this, you really country. If you go on a boat, you don't wear sneakers and socks. You wear sandals or slides. And there's a bunch of pictures of him, and people was capping on him because he's wearing shoes. It's like, you don't wear shoes. And he's like, I didn't understand. If I get in the water, I'm not going to wear my sandals. No. Because there's a lot of water around. You don't want to mess your shoes up. Oh, but yeah, but I was sitting there watching him and just looking at his mannerisms, his flow, the way he thinks about his questions. I was like, whoa, this is Kobe here. It appeared like it was Kobe. There it goes. I blow big stacks. I should have taped that one though. That was my bad for not taping it. Did anybody watch the Raiders versus Al Davis? That was interesting. That was real interesting. That's why I was learned about that Pete Rozelle stuff. That was interesting football history. How Al Davis, you have to admire his hustle. Al Davis went to Syracuse, I think, and Al Davis just hung around the football team and did scouting reports on the practices while he was in school. He wasn't a player. He wasn't a coach. He just went to practice every day, and he would write. They actually thought he was a spy for other teams until they talked to him, and he just wanted to learn football. And so he went with a few NFL teams. I think he went with when the Rams were initially in LA, or the Chargers were in LA. But anyway, and then he got into coaching the AFL. They didn't even talk about how he testified for the USFL when the USFL sued and beat the NFL for being a monopoly. And then they only awarded them $1 instead of breaking the NFL to force them to take in the USFL. It was a lot of politics in there. Award $1. How was they didn't even say $1 and then pay their attorney fees. So they wanted to kill it. They had high friends in there that weren't going to let that thing. What is also funny is Tony has Raiders over Bucks. Jack Pardee, the old Redskin. Okay. Miles Davis was the coordinator then? Jack Pardee. I wonder if Miles Davis was his coordinator. I had to think about that one. But you say he ran run and shoot to start with Lorenzo White. Might have, yeah, it could have been. Miles Davis might have been there, one of people that ran his system. A lot of people ran his system. Houston still runs his system. You look at Houston football, that's what happened. Klinger, Andre Ware, when Andre Ware and Klinger both won the Heismans, they ran run and shoot. I think Klinger still got all the records, the college records, I think. Didn't become a good pro. Aaron Rodgers has somewhat a Jewish name, but he's not Jewish. Nobody want to see Derek Carr on the big stage. That's funny. What about his brother? You see how the way they did his brother? Rodgers, because it ends in ER. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, Aaron is a Hebrew. Yeah, Aaron might be. Aaron Rodgers, English, Irish, German. I see similarities. Big Ben, Josh, Allen, Baker, Rodgers, Breeze, Brady, all are of the Jewish faith, which isn't surprising. It's a lot of people. Look up the actors that are of the Jewish faith. But another one is look up old mobsters. Old mobsters. See, you hear a lot about Italian gangsters, but they try to push that under the rug. But all you gotta do is say Bugsy Siegel. And then I know that the TV name is Roth in the movies, but it's not Roth. It's and I can picture his face. It'll come to me in a minute, but he was with them, and he was a Jewish cat. He was a Jewish cat. He was the original dude that said that we're bigger than U.S. Steel. The Roth character is playing him. His name will come to me in a minute, but that's why the when it came to the Italians taking Christopher Columbus was not Italian. He was Portugal. He was a Jewish Portugal family, not Italian. One of my friends tried to argue me on Facebook. You're wrong. No, he was Portugal Jewish, and then later became a converso. And converso is converted to Catholic. Look at where he's buried. He ain't buried in no Jewish faith place. I'll tell you that. Them Catholics got them bones. Derek Carr is a top 10 quarterback. I don't think people are getting 50% of people who don't watch the NFL, they just watch the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure no casual knows Derek Carr. That's the thing. I mean, it's become, again, it's our first national holiday. It is just, the Super Bowl is just as much as a holiday as Christmas and everything else. It is. I've watched this from nobody caring about it. I mean, think about it. The first Super Bowl was in, I believe, the LA Coliseum. It didn't sell out. I don't think you really saw the Super Bowl becoming a national thing until the Cowboys came in the 90s. I mean, of course, it's always been a big deal to me because I'm a football lover. But I'm saying on the broad scale, it wasn't until I think the Cowboys came in the 90s where everyone was celebrating. It became a party. And it became a party where people did it year in and year out. I think the first Super Bowl party I went to was 92 or 93. I don't think it was before my son Brennan was born. And the guy had a TV in literally every room. Kitchen, you went to the bathroom, either bathrooms. He had TVs in the bathrooms. I think that most of the people that were smoking bud, we was sitting on one of the back rooms, and it was a big TV back there. There was TVs everywhere. So he did it right. Good food. But here's a funny part of the story. The guy was working on his house too. So there were stairs going up to the upstairs bathroom, and the stairs was just made. And I stepped on the stairs and crashed. My foot went through these stairs. So, but it's resourceful people in there, and they had it back up in no time. But it's just, I never forgot that. It's like, damn, I'm standing in the middle, stair up to my knee. A little embarrassed too, because I was probably the only brother up in there as well. They shamed Carr. Yeah, what they did to his brother, though, they destroyed his brother. His brother had a lot of talent, and they destroyed him and blamed him for playing on the bad teams. Russell Wilson asked for a trade because he runs around, gets sacked, throws picks. Mahomes gives him flashbacks. Tariq, that is funny. Got chewed up and spit out by the NFL. Wilson and Newton. I don't think Russell Wilson really gonna have a problem because of his escapability, but he plays his role. I mean, what did he do? I didn't even know he was up for Man of the Year, but by them putting him up for Man of the Year, they keeping him on the public stage, and he's still getting commercials, and not just local commercial. He still does national commercials. So I think he's still in their plans. They ain't buried him yet. They've buried Cam. I don't think they're going to give Cam another run. Cam, see, when they look at Cam, Cam is everything that they dread. That's why they started trying to do the feminist stuff with wearing the scarves and all that, because everything about Cam shows masculinity and it shows brother dominance. And so they have to kill that. They gave it one good season. Now they're going to bury him. I doubt he ever does well again, just because he's a constant reminder of what and some perceive as natural born built quarterback. Could move, could run. Again, I guess I've never compared Cam to Bobby Douglas, but very close. Where Bobby Douglas was the first cat I saw where dudes didn't like tackling him. And Cam was somewhat like that. Now, a lot of people disagree, but one of my first shows on my other channel that did 20,000 was showing how the Watts brother destroyed Cam's shoulder. He went to his shoulder on purpose. And Cam ended up having surgery on that shoulder. And that was on purpose. And you can see all the defenders. No, it was on purpose. I've watched enough injuries on purpose to know. And that was an injury that was on purpose. He purposefully went after Cam's shoulder to do damage to it. And you can see when the trolls come in, the NFL defenders. The NFL got a lot of trolls too. It's interesting. You know, and it's hard. Like you do a show with 65,000 views and then you try to erase all the trolls. It's like if you don't watch that shit every day, you'll be erasing 200 trolls every day. And it's amazing the amount of trolls that it appears like troll is a position they get paid for. And there's entertainers. I want to wonder how one fat entertainer out of Chicago, I want to know how his dreams been. Yeah, let's see how his dreams been the last couple of days. He'll be on tomorrow. Let's see how his dreams been. Deadskins 9, Raiders 38. King Kane, RG3. And yeah, RG3 let them talk him into playing when he had tore his knee up. Yep, they destroyed him. And then look at what Gruden did to him. Gruden tried to purposely hurt him in a preseason game. And the Cowboys players agreed. Instead of the Cowboys players kind of taking it easy, well, what you was looking at is dudes trying to make the team. And they thought they would make the team if they, try to hurt RG3. But Gruden he put him in there with the weakest line. And Stephen A. Smith talked about it too. One of the few times he was honest in his career. They really tried to hurt him then. But RG3 was stupid for playing when he was hurt. He let them coaches who was going to get fired regardless. If they won the Super Bowl, they was going to get rid of them Schottenheimers. Or was it Schottenheimers or the old Denver coach? Whoever was the coach then, they was getting rid of them regardless, no matter what they did. And he let them talk him into playing when he had a tore up knee. It wasn't the Schottenheimers. It's the San Francisco, I think that family. The coach is San Francisco. I think it's that family. He better than me. NFL fucked up for that. Yeah, it is the way they destroyed him. They scripted Super Bowl loss, killed Cam's soul. Probably. It's a hard thing to deal with. Now I messed. RG3 did him dirty though. Yeah, he did himself dirty. Don't play. Don't let them cap you into playing. And that's what they did. Grant Hill, the NBA shamed Grant Hill. Oh, Grant's soft. Grant had a broken foot. And they talked him into playing it. He played 2 or 3 games, playoff games on that broken foot. And you saw for about 3-4 years. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't know that Grant Hill damn near died. He had staph infection and damn near died. I don't know if a lot of people know that about Grant Hill. Super Bowl 55 to Super Bowl 59 repeat. Both teams will be done after the Super Bowl. Sometime that damn happened. Yeah, Gruden, he did him dirty. He did him dirty. Because RG3 had a better relationship with the owner. The owner loved RG3. Buccaneers White said, how the hell is this team with one Pro Bowler win the Super Bowl? Exactly. I heard that too. Pierre Paul was the only All-Pro on that team. Brady didn't make All-Pro. He probably got picked for the Pro Bowl, but not All-Pro. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Did Brady make one of the All-Pro teams? My mama didn't follow football all the season, but she through Super Bowl parties back in the 90s when the Cowboys was winning. Also, her birthday be around that time when it was in January. Exactly. Yeah, my brother-in-law, Shanahan, that's the name, the Shanahans. Yep, the Shanahans. That's the one that talked to the older Shanahan, no, the one that won the Super Bowl with Denver. They talked him into playing, and he shouldn't have played. Chiefs got 7 Pro Bowlers, can't get a touchdown exactly. Remind me of Ravens versus Titans, divisional round. I was shocked this happened. Chiefs played to kick field goals. Yeah, Steve Young said it best. If you playing to kick field goals, you playing to lose. That's what Steve Young said. He said you are planning to lose. He was right. He was at so many Super Bowls are they going to let Brady win? You got to look at Yogi Berra. You got to look at Yogi Berra. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going on. They're going to get RFG3 eventually. That's what happened messing with the devil. I ate all the food for Madden to play like Cam for 15. That's funny. That is funny. Oh, that is so funny. But yeah, that became a thing. I remember my brother-in-law, his birthday, for like a couple of years in January, the Super Bowl would land on. And we was having parties. Now, of course, football people was having parties. And I know a few people that would cook and have in the 80s. When I lived in, I think the first time, because, I was telling the story about my floor model. So I want to say the Super Bowl before, my best friend invited me over to his house. And I had just got a 32-inch floor model. Big wooden thing with a little box, like the remote was about this big. It was like one of the, for the time, the newer stuff. And I had just got it in the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, when the Raiders won the Super Bowl, might have been that one. And my friend was like, you guys coming over, like, look, man, I got this TV. I'm watching the game at home. He cooked a lot of food. So that had to have been 82, maybe Super Bowl 82 or 83, maybe 83 when the Raiders won. And so my friend was a little mad at me, but I was like, man, I want to sit here and watch my TV. I don't want to go somewhere else. But again, it's the social aspect. But, back then, floor model was the shit. Floor model with a little bitty remote, something like this, was slightly bigger than this, but like about a little bit bigger. It was one of the sweetest remotes I ever had because it was so small and did a lot. But yeah, so it wasn't a holiday, and it's that's in the last the 90s, last 25 years that it's become a holiday, and now it's the ultimate holiday. It shuts the country down. I mean, drive on the highways during the Super Bowl. I never had to work as a cop on the Super Bowl. Some kind of way I always got out of it. ESPN had 2 people die. I talked about Pedro. Who else? Who died beside Pedro? Dan Reeves, coach back in the 90s when Elway was there. Yeah, Dan Reeves, they never won a Super Bowl with Dan Reeves, though. Shanahan won the Super Bowls, not Reeves. Reeves never won a Super Bowl. I do not believe. I think it was Shanahan that took over. Because remember, Shanahan was also with the Raiders for a while, too. And he had gotten something with Al Davis. And then Shanahan was one of the youngest coaches at the time, I think, with the Raiders. And then he ended up going with Denver when they got rid of Reeves. Because, Reeves was ex-Cowboy. And do y'all remember how Reeves dressed? Reeves wore a London fog, and he wore hats. He didn't wear that football shit. Now they make they make them wear that kind of stuff. But if you look at old time football, like Tom Landry, he always wore a fedora and a coat. And Reeves, that was his pro coach. So Reeves dressed like that. Reeves would get cool. Reeves would have them badass London fogs, like the London fogs with the linings. And those are coming back in style. I don't know if y'all noticed. Right now, them $500 coats is about $160 at Macy's. Well worth it. Those coats never go out of style, but they're kind of more in style. You see them on TV and shit. And in movies. and you can get the ones with the lining. But Dan Reeves used to look sharp on the sideline. Now they make you wear that bullshit sweatpants and have you looking sloppy. Kind of copying baseball. Like, that makes no sense. Baseball, like you have to go back, and I know this is a name a lot of y'all don't even know, but Connie Mack wore fedoras, and he dressed up when he was he had the what was called the Philadelphia A's, I think it was at first, before they went to Kansas City and then went to Oakland. I think they were the Philadelphia A's or Boston. And I don't want to say the original A's with Connie Mack was Philadelphia A's. And he didn't wear them sweatpants shit or wear the baseball outfit. Trevor Lawrence will be a bust. I don't know. Oh, yeah. We counted them. James, we counted Pedro. Yep. We counted both of them. Yep. We counted Pedro and Seco. Yep. We counted both of them. Jags win the division, but the AFC North looks tough. Could be. Trevor Lawrence will be a bust. I don't know. He has a lot of what the modern day game needs. Strong runner, mobile runner, can run multi-offenses. You know, he fits in a lot of different sets. Ran a pro system in college. I would say he is a better package than Watson. Stronger arm, not as quick. Watson is quicker, but I think stronger arm, stronger runner. And I don't mean elusive runner, but I mean a good, strong runner, kind of like Cam was when he was early. So I don't know. They're putting him with the perfect coach. The key is to get him a good left tackle. You got to have a good line, good left tackle. It's not hard to get the skilled receivers. I mean, there's plenty of guys that fit. It's like one thing I noticed. Did you notice that number 10 for Tampa didn't catch a ball yesterday? I don't think he caught a ball at all. He caught a touchdown against the Packers. He didn't catch a ball at all in the Super Bowl. I was looking at some highlights of, building up, and I'm like, damn, what happened to him? I don't even remember seeing him play except on special teams. I think he only played on special teams. LSU knew the imposing team plays. Burrow's championship was scripted. They all are scripted. Burrows was injured on purpose. Draco, look at that play. His own lineman threw the defender in his leg. So they hurt Burrows on purpose to send him some type of message. And that's what they do. He wasn't going along with something. And his own lineman threw the dude in his leg. That's a no-no. You never throw the defender back. Maybe side to side, but not back, because you know where your quarterback's going to be. And that his own lineman, I think it was the guard, he threw that dude right into Joe Burrow's leg. And I should have made a video on that, and I didn't, but he did. Ralph Backstrom died at 83, Tom Brady's future Super Bowl record. Ralph Backstrom died at age 83. I'm missing who that is. Who is Ralph Backstrom? Can't make this stuff up. Justin Fields was the best WB in the draft. Well, you think so? He is more like Murray, I think, quick and can move. Ohio State quarterbacks not like that. Where was Le'Veon Bell? Yeah, exactly. Fields the best OSU quarterback I've seen, accurate, can run and got an arm. Yeah, and he played the games. That was the problem with Haskins. He didn't play enough games. I know one dude. He commented on we were saying who didn't play and everything, but again, personnel does make a difference. You have to wonder how the LSU back that got hurt worse played before Bell, when Bell fit more of what they needed. They really needed a dude that could spread them out, throw a swing to, and get positive yards. That back ain't that kind of cat. Bell also could be a cat you could have motioned a lot. Again, that's my thing. If you looked at that Super Bowl, they wasn't running the crazy motions like they ran all year. If you really just check this out. If you really watched a few times they ran motions, it was just superficial. It wasn't trying to set up anything. During the season and the other games, they would run the motion to try to set up other looks, and then run the motion again and see what look they got, and then go off that look. But run it again, and they didn't do that. Remember how they had the crazy motions? Dude would start left, go back right, then circle back around almost every play. What do we have? We had dudes dudes shifting. We had dudes shifting from inside receiver. They may slant out, but they wasn't going across the formations back and forth like they've done all season. They have dudes flank out. Dudes would start in tight. They would do a tight formation, and then dudes would flank out. That was the only kind of motion until we had 25 run heels play, and they shut it down because why is he running it instead of Hill, which didn't make sense again. I was commenting on that when they was running it. It kept the linebacker free. Linebacker's reading this. He's seeing it. He's free to roam, and he's the one that 43 was the one that stopped the play. So they weren't, I mean, you could see where it was scripted not to really be effective. Now, one time, did you see a Kansas City play where they were surprised, It was like, well, damn, we didn't expect that. And it seemed like every play was like that for the Kansas City defense. Well, we never saw him do that before. So how could I sit there and call Gronk's first touchdown? And I just did a little bit of film study, watched a couple games, and I knew he was going to come across right there and get that first touchdown. You telling me it ain't nobody in the booth that didn't know that? Let's double team Gronk because something's coming. He's more than likely going to. I mean, soon as Gronk came in, I knew the ball was going to go to him. I think the world did. I think everybody in the world knew the ball was going to go to Gronk, except the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs was the only ones that was like, Gronk hasn't played in this series coming up, but Gronk's on the end zone now. He is 6'5", 6'6", and a lot of DBs don't match up with him. But we just don't think he's going to get the ball. Shady McCoy back-to-back Super Bowls. That is a good point. I almost wore my Shady McCoy Eagles jersey yesterday, too. Where's Damian Williams? Yeah, that's a good point. Andy Reid purposely choked. Yeah, that's right. Shady McCoy get them rings. Bell's always been a good receiving back. Exactly. The troll with the swimsuit on better. Yeah, but remember what I said about Hill the game before, not running crispy routes. And if you get double teamed and your routes ain't crispy and precise, it's easy. And he got exposed because he just doesn't run good routes. And so it's easier to double team him if your routes ain't precise. Because check this out. He runs such bad routes where look at the way he's thrown passes. If you think about how he's thrown passes, a lot of times he's wide open. But if he ain't wide open, he's not getting none of those passes where you just turn and he looks. Think about what he catches. How many times do you see him catch a pass where he look up and catch the ball? A lot of times he waiting for the ball. So that doesn't help you run good routes. And it caught up on it. And again, it's scripted, but I'm just saying it helps the script if you don't run good routes. It's easier to justify when you get double teamed and they giving you a cover 2 look, because again, that's how they double teamed him. They ran cover 2 against him. They had somebody there and then somebody deep. So as soon as he started deep, they was coming his way. And do you know what happens when they double team one player? You come behind them with another player. Did we see that? If you double team and Hill, somebody else is open. A zone is the easiest thing to beat. Instead of Mahomes, remember what he did the time he got sacked? Looked like he should have thrown it. He brought it back down. Then he kind of tried to come back up and got sacked or bailed out. He bailing out, and this is a young cat. This is a cat with experience, but he's bailing out like a rookie. So I was like, so we see what he did. He's still getting his commercials. Brady, okay. Pat Mahomes got hurried 29 times. Brady only got hurried 4 times. Now, is that fixed? Was Tampa's line that great other than Jensen? Did Tampa Bay have a sack yesterday, y'all? I don't think they had a sack. I don't think they had one sack. They only had 4 hurries. So was that really the Kansas City defense we knew? I think not. So we know, we know. It's nothing new. That's something. And so I hope everybody made money. I made money. I lost very little. 400 would have been better than 200. But 200 was okay too. Hey, Barbara, did you see the story today? Florida man charged with trespassing after scampering into Super Bowl field in the fourth quarter. He was wearing shorts and a pink leotard swimsuit. Yeah, we saw him. We was watching the game. We spoke on that because somebody was saying he was naked. He wasn't streaking. I was like, didn't he have shorts on? He had shorts on. Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, I saw him. I saw that, Barbara. Sure did. Yep. That's why I mentioned about Mike Curtis in the 70s. Yeah, it had to be in the 70s. It was a Monday night game. And when the coach was still in Baltimore, a cat came on the field, and it was wintertime. Cat came on the field, picked up the ball, and Mike Curtis, they called him Mad Dog Curtis, just swooped him. I mean, boom, bam. They had to help him off the field. Yep. And I'll tell you what, when I was like maybe 6th, 7th grade, I was at the mall. And this is in the 70s when malls was like the thing. What's the Boston Cats? They made mall rats, back in them days. And hanging with the mall. And 2, I think they was dudes. I mean, I couldn't really tell. I imagine that their penises were so small, I couldn't tell if they was dudes or women, to be honest. They didn't have no boobs, so I took it that they were small penis men, I'm guessing. But it's like they ran through the mall. It's like I was sitting there talking to this chick, and next thing I know, 2 of these European cats is running through the mall, naked. And I asked her, I said, it was those 2 guys. And the woman I was with said the same thing, or young girl at that time. She was like, yeah, I don't know. They had the smallest penis I've ever seen. I said, me too. So were they guys? But that was the thing. Guys would just streak through the mall. I don't know. Did you have to be high on that kind of thing? I don't know. Oh, here it is. I don't know. I want to laugh some more, y'all. I want to laugh a little more. Here and in most places with water, all over the country, we have a problem with damn carp. And so, I live near the lake, and they got 23 pounds of carp because Prior Lake is Upper Prior Lake and Lower Prior Lake. So 2,300 pounds of evasive carp have got into our water system. And the other thing, roughly 10,000 vaccinated in my county. State officials warn eagerness to be vaccinated could drive scams. You dig what I'm saying? There could be vaccination scams out there. People are getting so thirsty because see, this is their thing, is to make it scarce. That's why they're saying rich people getting it, able to hopscotch over people. They want to make you think it's scarce. And did y'all get this story? I had to block a chick off Facebook. Did y'all get this story? I know I talked about sports last night. I don't think I brought this up. Check this out. Gloucester grandmother dies within hours after taking it. She was a year younger than me. She was 58, gifted singer, mother, grandmother of 6. Now, this is what they see. This is why they're trying to tell you. Check this out. This is how dirty they did her. Her name was Keys. Gloucester grandmother received the Pfizer. Keys had diabetes, sleep apnea, and was overweight. How they know that? How they know she was overweight? That has to be an observation. How would they know how much that woman weighed? There ain't no weight when you take shots. Her job made her eligible for the first dose. So on Saturday, she got the first dose. She had to stay there for 15 minutes. A coworker said she was trying to get in the car and she started saying, something's not right. Something's not right. Doctors later told it says doctors later on told Jones her mother couldn't breathe and started vomiting. They admitted an EpiPen. Why did they stick her with an EpiPen? CPR and oxygen. She was quickly rushed to Tappahannock Hospital. They tried to remove fluid from her lungs. How did the poke give your lungs fluid? Doctors told me that it can cause choking you. Chemicals are released inside a person's body and cause you to get fluid. Anaphylaxis is a severe, adverse, life-threatening allergic reaction that rarely occurs after taking the poke. So anaphylaxis. The risks were also this is the waiver. The risks were spelled out on the paperwork. My mom was wanting to protect herself, and it didn't turn out that way. Did anybody else hear about that story? It ain't on national news, is it? No. Ain't on national news. Here's another one for y'all. I want to read. Here's another one. Surprise, the world's oldest mummies are not in Kemet. The first humans known to have been mummified their dead did so in a rather improbable spot, the driest place on Earth. The Chanaharo people settled in coastal bays of Acacampa Desert, which is present-day Chile, around 7,000 years ago BC, developed a technique for mummification around 5,000 BC. That's roughly 2,000 years before the people were before the Kemetans. While the Kemetans were a complex civilization, mummifying the elites, Chachacaro was pre-Sumeric hunter-gatherers with a more approach to honoring the dead. They don't know much about these people, but you know they're grave robbers. So again, Americans built the first pyramids. The oldest pyramids, the most pyramids are in the Americas. We mummified the people first. The first people lived on the Pacific coast, and they lived in the Gulf of Mexico. This is where the first people come from and spread to the rest of the world. Now I'm going to get into my point of who are they fucking with in Prior Lake. This is hilarious. So this is part of the show that I laugh at Prior Lake. So they responded to and provided summary. Okay. Counterfeiting. An individual tried to pass a $100 bill. What they did to George Floyd when he had a fake 20. He said he received the bill at a gas station and had asked the cashier if it was real. The cashier said the police had verified the bill was real. The bill was confiscated by the police department. Don't say if they arrested him or not. They believed this story. So they didn't even arrest him for a $100 fake bill. They wanted to arrest Floyd for having it. An individual tried to using a prop $10 bill in a machine at Mystic Lake. He was kicked out. This is always the biggest part, drugs. I don't know why they go, well, I guess they smoke meth so they can stay up and gamble all night. Which to me, why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want hopped up people that could, if they spend money? because they call the police if they smoke in the room. Now they call the police if you sit in your car. You just want to smoke your meth so you can gamble all night. I think they should just have a sit down. The meth people and the casino should say, look, we come in here and gamble all night, but we need meth to stay up. So give us a break. Let smoking be a smoking room and let me do my meth, and then I'll gamble 7,000 that night. I think that should be a good agreement. Don't y'all think that would be a good agreement? Mr. Casino, quit arresting your customers. Those people with meth have money. They just want to smoke meth and play slots all night. I am for meth and slots. Quit arresting your customers. These are people that are going to keep coming back. They just want to smoke their meth, so they're hopped up all night. What's wrong with that, guys? Nothing wrong with that to me. If I had a casino, you could smoke meth in my hotel or the parking lot. I'm not holding either against you. Long as you come in and spend your money, you can smoke meth at my casino. Well, you can smoke meth up in the room. You can smoke cigarettes in the lobby. I'm not going to have you smoking meth at my machine. No. But I would be okay within the car and okay in the hotel. You could smoke either place. So somebody put me in a position to own a casino and a hotel, and I'll tell you, I would make a lot of money because I would let the meth heads know they were welcome in my establishment. Matter of fact, I would make a slogan. If you want to take a bet and smoke on meth, I'm the place for you. I'm the place for you. Report of people smoking narcotics in the vehicle. No, not narcotics, meth. Officers made contact with the vehicle occupants and found the rental vehicle was kept past its rental period. Both occupants were charged with fifth-degree possession. That's a misdemeanor of drug paraphernalia. We're not going to turn this rental in. Officers called to a hotel reported of narcotics in a room. Officers searched the room and found drug paraphernalia. The 4 occupants were charged with fifth-degree, see again, misdemeanor. Reports of a group smoking narcotics in a vehicle, again at the hotel. Officers made contact and suspected meth has a distinct smell, guys. It's a chemically smell. You can't miss it. Meth has a distinct smell. Found suspects narcotics, a firearm in the vehicle. Am I on the same? Yeah, a firearm in the vehicle. A 23-year-old man was jailed for being a felon in possession of a firearm and fifth-degree possession of meth. A 57-year-old St. Paul man with bolt cutters from a hardware. This story was weird. A 57-year-old St. Paul man stole bolt cutters from a hardware store. He then used the bolt cutters to cut the ties from 2 snowmobile blowers outside the store, loaded in his vehicle. While driving away, the tailgate opened and one of the blowers fell out into the roadway. The man stopped and he picked the blower back up and he loaded it back in his vehicle. They had video surveillance, and they were able to identify the man and arrest him. They got him for felony possession of burglary tools, the stolen bolt cutters, driving without a license, possession of a small amount of marijuana, and an open bottle after he stole the bolt cutters. A St. Paul man was cited for theft of a casino ticket valued at $125, and a homeowner on Mushroom Road reported his snowmobiling signs was taken. So that concludes who they's fucking with in Prior Lake. Let's be honest, meth needs love too. They could smoke meth in my place all night. Hell, I'd let them smoke it on the floor. As long as they was betting. Turkey Jones shaming Terry Bradshaw. Drake is all state. Ha! Yes, my grandparents getting vaccinated. That's sad. Scams, yeah, vaccination scams. Yeah, they're trying to tell you. I finally, oh, real key, thank you. First, I've heard of that story. Meth to bed. I would have no problem with it. Like, why are you chasing all your customers away? I mean, every week is stories like this. Look, they need meth to gamble all night. You got to be like, let some of that slide. I would go in there and say, can I burn incense or essential oils? You know, I'm coming here to meditate or something. So they must like really guard dog the doors. Like, you know, you go in the room, you know, people go in the bathrooms, use the fan. I mean, they really must like be in the room door. Like you open the door and it'd be somebody sniffing your door and stuff as you go in that hotel. I mean, damn, you drove them out of getting high in the rooms. They got their cars. Leave them alone. Leave your valuable customers alone. Let them meth out in the cars. Guarantee you'll gain a profit from their meth use. Come on now. Meth and gambling seems to go together, buddy. Meth equals mothballs, Ethan. It's funny. I know a dude who sells meth, and he's a smooth dude. I ain't got no problem with him. When I went off with these young boys, he every time he see me, he's like, "I'm not causing any problems over here. I'm just doing my business, so don't run me out of here." Because he knew I was about to put some fire on them young boys. But his hustle don't bother me. I don't give a fuck what he does. These dumbasses want to give him their money. That's on them. That's on them. He doesn't bother me. I blow big stacks. I came in on meth and gambling. Yes, exactly, MJ. See, they arresting all their business. You know, if the police went in there and said, attention, everybody who smoked meth on these slot machines, raise your hand. Everybody would raise their hand and leave. I mean, come on, we are a rural area. Rural and meth go together. They don't want crack out here. They want meth. I say give them their meth, and they like to gamble. Look, these meth heads have jobs. Y'all know that, don't you? It's not like all the meth people don't work. The meth heads have jobs, and they like to gamble. Perfect thing. You like to connect. You would like to collect money. I don't get it why you're running them off. That's called turn a blind eye. Let them come on in. Oh, EJ, it's good to see you back. MJ, excuse me, it's good to see you back. But that's just the funny world. That's just the funny world. It's funny. The young sister that's pregnant and she does meth over here. She's pregnant and does meth and has 3 children, and she's going through a lot of CPS shit all the time. But she's pregnant and she doesn't know who she's pregnant by, and she does meth. And she works. It's not like she's a nice person, but it's like I remember seeing her after doing meth because they would do meth in this building at the other apartment this girl lives under. And I could watch her and I could just see the way her mind was working on meth. And I would just look at her and I was like, poor child, poor child. But yeah, she's pregnant and still doing meth. She's not easing up. She's a valuable customer, I guess. I stay out of these people business. I stay out of these people business. I say let them have their meth. As long as they're not trying to steal from me, they can have their meth all day. Because it's hilarious to watch. It's hilarious to watch. You see the meth people, they be like crack people used to do their lips and shit. Meth people be doing that shit too. You know, people on crack used to always do their lips all crazy and shit. You be talking to somebody who used to do crack and they're doing their mouth like Bobby Brown. Y'all remember seeing Bobby or Whitney? They would do their mouths all crazy. Bobby was really bad. He had that meth mouth, but or the crack mouth, meth mouth. go back and watch the old Bobby and Whitney show, and you see Bobby. He interviewed. He doing his mouth. I don't know. Meth people do that shit too. You see them doing their mouths like this. I don't know what it calls. Yeah, the lip shit. Yeah, exactly. MJ, the lip shit. Watch Bobby Brown though. You see him today. He still does that shit. Unless Bobby is on a downer, then he don't do it. But Bobby just normal, doing their mouths like this and shit all the time, talking to you. They talking to you and their mouths is going back and forth. Geeked out. Yeah. and this old chick called herself liking me, and she's doing her mouth like that in my face. And I'm like looking at her like, Grandma, go somewhere. I'm not interested. Grandma. You could lay down naked right here, and I would still not look at you 2 times. Go somewhere. So I don't know. I just have fun with life, y'all. I have fun with life. I do philosophize, but I have fun with all this. I'm not judging these people. I'm looking at it as it's a reality. It's a reality. Step over her. There you go. Might cover her up. I might cover her up, and then she end up sinking into a black hole. So messing with me. They tongues be throwing up gang signs. Yes, that's funny as shit. That is some real shit. The meth people do it too. It's just funny to see people on meth. It's like people do meth and then go grocery shopping and shit. And like they be speeding through Walmarts. And I'm like, what's the hurry? Like, why is you such a hurry? Like, why would you do meth in the parking lot of Walmart and then go shopping? I don't get that. But it's like you can see it. And I think some of them be meeting up and be having meth races in the store. Because like you'll see them all through the store, just zooming through the store. And they be shopping and shit, putting shit in the cart. But it's like, why are you so fast? Why are you shopping so fast? It makes me look at that game that what's the chick used to be on Saturday Night Live? That Leslie Jones, she do that supermarket game. The meth heads be looking like they be doing the supermarket game and they don't even be no game going. The supermarket game, they gotta take the shopping cart, rush and pick the shit up. That's how the meth people be. They be it's like, okay. I didn't know it was one way. I thought when you go to a Walmart, you can drive either way. It ain't no like one way. They be driving like it's only split highways, divided highways and shit. If you going the wrong way, they zooming at you. Oh, it takes all kind, y'all. Supermarket sweepstakes. Yeah, PJ, supermarket sweepstakes. That's how the meth heads be doing it. Like they be supermarket sweepstakes. I just observed this shit. This should be funny. But when you go into what they call over north, you don't be seeing that. Isn't that funny how you go to different parts of town and certain things you just don't see? You don't see a lot of meth heads in the hoods. Just don't see it. It's a rural thing. It's a rural thing. You went back on that one. But if we can't laugh at it, who can, guys? We can't laugh at life. Who can it? But yeah, you go in the hood and you don't see the meth heads. It's just so funny. When, as the neighborhoods start to change, you start to see the change in the type of drugs they want. And sadly, what you see in the hood is a lot of junkies again. Not crack, but heroin junkies. I saw somebody, it's 25 degrees with wind chill, and they like, they call the shit lean. They dressed up though. It's not like they got winter clothes on, but they out there on the bus stop like. And I just don't get that. So you take a shot and then you go wait for the bus somewhere. How? Why? Why would you take a shot? Know you're going to start nodding, but you decide to get wrapped up, put your winter clothes on, and you're at the bus stop like this, leaning back and forth. And shit. You never fall, but you remember there was the little goose or some shit that would dip in the water and it would build a little tree in the water and shit. Remember how it would just keep dipping in the water? That's how this girl, I was looking at this girl at the stoplight. She was doing that shit. She was like, why of all places? Why go to the bus stop? It had to be warmer where you was before, unless she took her shot and they kicked her out. I don't know. But I didn't know that heroin addicts have somewhere to go like that. It's like, why is heroin addicts in the buses so popular? It's like, let's get this shot in, and then I got to go ride the city bus. I told the story years ago. My car was broke down. It would take me 12 minutes to drive to work with my car. It took me an hour to catch the bus. So I had to catch the bus. And I'm getting mad at the bus driver because he's turning around looking at this chick. And this chick was in the seat leaning. Finally, she plumped over. And it was kind of funny watching her when she fell, because she fell and kind of rolled. She like fell in the middle of the aisle, but she some kind of way like rolled down the stairs to where the door was. So the bus driver, he stopped the bus and he picked her back up. She did the same shit again. And it was kind of funny. But I was like, bus driver, drive your ass. And then he waited for the police, and the police took her off. But I don't get that. Hey, Jeffrey Lane, what's happening? The year Nipsey Hussle died, he was murdered on March 31st at the 19. Super Bowl score was 13-3. Oh, interesting. Last year, my boy called the recovery method old method man. That's a good one. Old method man. That is funny. That is funny, PJ. I got a customer at my job be moving fast. Dude is like 79 years old, be moving fast like a motherfucker. I be like, hey, dude, that age moving that fast. Yeah, he's probably on that shit. He probably is, Lorenzo. I see it too. Like this lady, the lady that came and laid on my floor, she 65, 66, all messed up and shit, like me forever. Like, get the hell out of here. I am like, ain't nothing sexy about a 66-year-old meth chick. I mean, what we supposed to sit here? And I'm like, well, honey, I don't really have any meth for you, but not sure what else we have in common, but like, what do you need? Yeah. This is Super Bowl, so it's September or June 31st. There's no June 31st. Yeah, no coincidence. So yeah, that's just humorous. Hey, Jeffrey, last time I checked, no meth here. Exactly. It's exactly like, what do we have in common? I'm not going to give you any money. She didn't need any money. I mean, these were they weren't poor people, but they weren't hurting to buy meth. But I like being an ex-cop, I know how constricted your eyes get, because when you do a speed, like even drinking coffee, you can see how your eyes will dilate a little bit from drinking a strong cup of coffee. It will dilate your eyes. When they do that meth, their shit be like pins. You can barely see inside their eyes because it will, and it tells. I mean, I've kind of trained to look for, the 13th. Okay. So that's just what I find funny. It's not even just the mouth, but I can look in their eyes and see them on that shit. And when they talk to you, they be on the same subject for like, you could like say, wait a minute, I'll be right back. And you could go like watch TV, and then you go back out there. They would pick right back up on that same subject. And yeah, when before you went up, remember I was talking about, they would be right, same subject. Y'all remember the episode on Cops where the crackhead called the cops because her crack got stolen? No, the better one was, there was this ex-cop. No, he was a cop. Him and his wife made some cookies and ate the cookies, and they got so paranoid they called the cops. They told them that they had took the cookies. Now this is a cop. He told them that they baked the cookies and took the cookies, and the cookies had him tripping. Who does that? Like, we made some fire ass cookies, and we tripping now. What you gonna do? Think you need to come over here and check on us, because we're tripping out over here in our house, and some weird shit's going on in the house, and would you please come over? Damn, if I call the cops, I'd call a friend. I'd be like, hey, friend, me and wife done had some we had some weed and we made some cookies with the shit out the butter, and now we tripping. Can you come over here and maybe calm us down, throw a bucket of water on me, something, help me out? Because I'm paranoid and the wife wants to call the cops. Not yet, honey. We'll work it out. No, they don't do that shit. Episode of Cops mixed with the X-Files. Ha! I remember the cops said, I think we're dead. I think we're dead. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and that's just the funniest stuff, guys. That shit is just so funny. I just find that shit so damn hilarious. Well, gosh, time flies when you're having fun. I'm gonna give the divination. Like, nigga, you ain't spiritual. You just talking about meth people. There's nothing spiritual about meth people. That's true. I believe we are up to, I think we were Chichen Eb. I think we're on day 12. 12, yeah, we're on day 12. Human vessel for penetration of higher mind, and the energy is out of the south. And so this is the fractal. So if you need to manifest tomorrow, remember, use the south energies. And I know a lot of other people don't teach this, but directional understanding, directional relationships can really help manifest. As I was saying with Muslims, they only get it right once. Them other days, they fighting the energy. The energy ain't always coming from the east. The energy moves. It's not stagnant. And so if you want to manifest, think about it. You're praying to the east and the energy is opposite. You are getting blocked. Even though giving your prayers are somewhat being blocked because you're not going with the natural flow of the energy. So if you want to manifest, this gives you like a, when they run track and they say wind aided, this helps your manifestation be aided. Oh, where are we at? Okay. In this card, it's 13 platoons, 0 platoons, 8 tunes. We have 4 unal, and we are going to have 12 kin. And this is 12 kin. And 12 kin is Mayol, is seated on top of a turtle and a snake, animals who spend their life firmly attached to the earth. This means that she is deeply rooted and connected to the earth, and her presence is the power of the earth. In one hand, she holds a bowl with flowers representing the good medicine, healing. In the other hand, she carries thorns symbolizing the bad medicine. In other words, use wisely, the power of herbs and plants may bring life, but used in the absence of the sacred, the same power can bring pain and death. Here we see again the ever-present tolic awareness of the duality in everything. The energy of the herbs is not good or bad, but the way we use it makes the difference. The experience produced by the use of perception-altering plants can bring learning and joy, but these powerful substances are not handled properly. They may cause sorrow and destruction. By the same token, the extracts of the plants could be used to produce medicine or to produce poison. This is the essential meaning of the flower and the thorns of the goddess in her hands. The positive meaning of the Matalinia represents the power of the healer. A warning signal. It represents the risk of physical or psychedelic embryonation. The sign of the healer may come to you because you need to look for healing for yourself, or because you are called to become a healer. Often both messages apply to the same person. Healing is meant here encompasses the service of a modern doctor, a spiritual healer, medicine person, therapist, counselor, anyone involved in supporting or healing process. You will relate to the one that happens to be the appropriate in your situation. The archetype of the wounded healer is very relevant to the understanding this card. Only when you have suffered pain and recovered from that pain can you understand and support others. That's a deep statement. You can't counsel unless you kind of counseled, have other counsels. Your sorrows, your failures, your times of crisis and emotional pain, all of them will be your assets when you are going to support the healing of others. As long as you have recovered and found peace for yourself, then you will be ready to personify the healer authentically. The healer and the healing come together as the two sides on the same coin. The warning, meaning makanla, may apply to you as having or are on your way to solving problems related to the use or abuse of substances like alcohol, marijuana, and other drugs. In this case, it is important to have your own inner eyes open. All too often, users admit that they have problems only when it's too late to reverse it. Make sure that this does not happen. Be especially careful with any drug that can be considered good. Ones that can deceive you. Small doses of pleasure, mere brains, numbness, or being high can be seen by some as harmless, but their effects on your energy, heal, productivity, and capacity to connect with others are devastating, especially over time. With the herb card carries the warning, meaning it also signals the need for healing. It is warning you, you better pay attention. Isn't that funny that this came up and I didn't make this up? I didn't just start talking about that. It's interesting. No, I'm not going to share that part. But it's like, I'll say acid. And you can still get acid. Or mushrooms. Mushrooms is kind of milder. But I found that just smoking weed and meditating can give you the same kind of thing that some of these higher drugs can give you. Again, if you have to know, this is the thing is you have to know what can release adrenaline. Adrenaline comes from right here. And what happens is you can take certain drugs, like even a strong cup of coffee will hit this adrenaline and adrenaline will start. I can feel it. You can feel adrenaline coming across. And that's what happens when you hit certain endorphins in your body thinks that a lot's going on, so it needs to keep feeding you adrenaline. That gives some people panic attacks. It's too much for some people. Now, I'm not saying every kind of substance can do that for you, but what I am saying is weed can do that to you. Weed can definitely, you smoke some good weed or you take an edible, it can start releasing here. Cocaine definitely can do that. And meth, it'll start releasing adrenaline. A lot of people tell you, like my neighbor down here, she says she's an adrenaline junkie. She'll do meth and adrenaline. She likes that feeling when adrenaline is released. I don't know if, like my son would smoke some weed and call me from Michigan, like, Dad, there's something wrong. He couldn't take the adrenaline rush that would come from smoking good weed. Mushrooms will give you a little less of it. It will release a little slower, so it's not too overwhelming. But some drugs will just keep dumping it to you. It'll keep dumping it. Can you handle that? Because that will give some people panic attacks. So meth people sweat is sold as clear Gatorade. That is a good one. Oh, that is a good one. Crazy Mr. Last for Super. I need to care. Last, let me check. I think I saw for a second. I want to go to the Tibet monks to learn Iron Fist. Yeah, the halftime show was very demonic. They opened up with the I don't know if a lot of people caught. It looked like buildings, but they was really tombstones. I'm still going through. I got to talk to my brother on who that monster is with the jock straps on the face, because that is a monster in a movie, and it still hasn't hit me, and nobody has mentioned it. But I got to talk to him because he's kind of my brother's kind of he knows a lot of the monsters, and I'm trying to. It's a monster that they're copying, but again, when you see with the white shawls and seeing just the eyes, again, they showing you Marduk. Because when Wes Paneri talks about Marduk, last seen in 2008, and this is an old entity, old being that's stuck here on our, he was kind of dressed like that. A little more, I'd say reptilian, slightly reptilian looking, but basically like that. When you're looking with the cloak and then the eyes, that's all Marduk. There's several other names you want to call that thing, but that was the first. That's why I said, I was like, that's Marduk. That was clearly showing him putting Marduk into the show. But they tricked us. This is how they tricked us, y'all. The colors for the game was yellow, but they made the dominant color black and red. Did y'all notice how they did that? They tricked us. They didn't pull that out. Because even when Beyonce went out, it was still kind of the theme of, even when they wore the Black Panther stuff, it was the theme of the colors of the Super Bowl. Now, yesterday, they held that. I think they purposely held that. So they threw that red and black in there as the dominant theme. And so I really didn't do any decoding on the red and black, but I found that interesting that they used that energy, because that's usually the theme is the Super Bowl colors. They switched it. They held that back. And I think they held that back because we be on their ass. Again, we were saying what the colors are, who's getting fed, and then they switched it at halftime. They waited. So I thought that was interesting on our work, be honest. Being a super adrenaline can make you do a lot of great things. Yeah, it can, if you can handle it. If you can handle it, Jeffrey, a lot of people can't handle it. Gearing up. Yeah, it is not. I agree. It's not good or bad. Black and red and yellow. Yeah, of course. Black, red, and yellow. Exactly. Maybe Jeffrey. I don't know. The little boy in Us had the mask, and Dark Man had that mask too. The little boy in Us had the mask, and Dark Man had the mask. One Dark Man. One Dark Man. I got to think about that one. I looked at Dark Man. You said that the other day. You said that yesterday, and I looked that up. Wasn't Dark Man. I'll look it up again. I'll look it up again. That's a good. I knew you would kind of help with that. Maybe it was Dark Man. Maybe it was. Let's check it out. Ah, yeah. Definitely. Good call, Jeffrey. I thought it was another one too, though. But good call. Good call, Jeffrey. Yeah, that's the shit right there. Good catch, Jeffrey. Maybe this is what I saw before. Yep, I think it is. Excellent call, Jeffrey. Thank you for your help. I appreciate it. Yep. Same shit. Same shit, y'all. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Darkman was burned and had to wear the mask. It was in the 90s. Yep, Darkman 1, 2, and 3. That's what I just saw, all three. So yeah, I guess it was Darkman. I guess it was. I'll do a little more research, but I think you're right. I think it was Darkman. So good. But that's the thing they pulling on us. That's the kind of thing they pulling us. And what do you guys think of this? Aggies? Them Aggies look rough. Lane Newsom was Darkman too. And you know what? I was just watching him playing Zeus and shit, and all the gods is copied from other places. The Greeks copied shit too. I mean, that's the lie again about of Western culture. It's almost all copied from somewhere else, and then they want to take credit for the shit. That's why they identify so much with the Commetans, because that's where they were given certain information, was through them. But again, the Commetans wasn't the originators. They wasn't the originators. They was given this shit too, and they corrupted a lot of it. Again, Masons, taxes, all that kind of shit goes back to the Commetans. So Kemet might not have been old as what they try to say. Europe might not be as old as what they try to say. One thing I'll say that Quantum of Consciousness says is, how did they have the manpower to build like Notre Dame Cathedral in the 1200s? How did they build it? 321 was by Eric Cole for Space Coast, NASA in Florida, Treasure Coast, Indian River. Yukon women are going to be the number one on our state always. It's crazy, yeah. Also, when NUC plant sits on the sand dune. It's funny, the nuclear. My uncle works at the nuclear plant in. I think he does security at a nuclear plant in Michigan. It's called Saugatuck, but I don't. Well, maybe it's but it's on dunes too. It's on Lake Michigan on the dunes, because the dunes ain't far from there. Like we got the movie White Sands, California. They got white dunes in Michigan too. Like southern Lake Michigan is still in Michigan and not going into Indiana or Illinois. We got those kind of dunes too, where you can just go roll down the dunes and shit. But the nuclear plant's right over there too. I told this story before. The first, the Dick Tracy TV watch they had at the nuclear plant, I went in 5th grade. So that had to have been 72, 73. They already had a TV watch in 72, 73. And remember, they had car phones in the 60s. My mother used to work for the Bell Company. And she said long distance has always been a scam. They cheated people with long distance. Matter of fact, check this out. My cable company had the nerve, how they try to push you to get a landline. They said a landline and only it was like so much for a minute. And I'm like, wait a minute. If I use my cell phone, all calls are pretty much free. You telling me I get a landline, then you're going to charge me for long distance. Like, that's some stupid. Whoever put that together was stupid as hell. Stupid promoting. They said a hacker. Oh, yes. I was going to bring that up. Yep, they did. They said a hacker broke in or cut into a water system plant. And let me see. Where did I put that story? Yeah, right here. In Florida, a near miss. Let me get it low. In Florida, a near miss with a cybersecurity worst case scenario. A hacker broke into Florida water treatment plants and ordered it to increase the amount of lye. Now, any of y'all like his history people, Malcolm X you would put lye in your hair to make your hair, to conk your hair. When Malcolm X, they say, get your head out the shitter because the shit's burning, they put in lye. That's how they used to straighten dudes' hairs. They put lye in it. Increased the amount of lye to extremely dangerous levels. The plant operator noticed and remedied their system before anyone was put into danger. But the events highlight the risk of internet-connected controls to civic infrastructures. And that went back into the movie. What was Jim Kelly? What was that movie called? What was that movie called? But it was Jim Brown and Jim Kelly, maybe Fred Williamson and them, and they wanted to poison the waterways. That's kind of like that as well. But see, this is when they advertised that shit, you know who the hackers was. We know who the hackers are. Yeah. Did y'all catch that shit? The woman gorilla glued her hair. Did y'all catch that shit? She gorilla glued her hair. Her hair ain't missed her hair ain't been out of place in what, 2-3 weeks? And she don't know what the fuck to do. I saw that. That also happened 9/11 in Florida. Florida Institute of Technology student tried poison the water, caught him by purchase. On purpose, caught him by purchase. Wow. Stories like go unnoticed, but it's never happened. Watch. Next week, people won't remember exactly. Yeah, 3 the hard way. They tried to poison the water systems. He was trying to make a student credit card. The parts altered the Granger workers. They caught him. Wow. Yeah, her hair, holy shit. Yeah, she ain't missed who the fuck would put gorilla glue in their hair? Hey, her hair ain't out of place. Her hair look laid. It ain't a nan hair out of place. I think weave might be put out of business, y'all. If you can just gorilla glue your hair and it look like that, and it's laid and don't move around, you could sleep on it, don't need a rag. I think a lot more people would be using it. Her scalp is going to really be messed up. Well, yeah, that gorilla glue gonna keep eating into her scalp. but her hair will not be out of place. So I think that's a fair trade. Scalp on fire, but your hair's laid. You know what they used to say? Fried, dried, and laid to the side. That's older than some of y'all. Her scalp is going to be very infected. Well, you know what I would say? I would say what I would do is I would invent a kind of swimming cap. I would get a swimming cap, gorilla glue some more hair on the swimming cap, and put bandages on her head, and then put the new gorilla glued swimming cap. See, that's what she should have did is she should have got her weave, gorilla glued it to the swimming cap, and then put that on her head. She would have saved her skull. Dang. She didn't listen. I miss when sisters back in the 90s had extensions. Yeah, they went way past extensions. They went way past extensions. They got the full whoop whoop. You know, you knew the girl growing up and her hair was never that big. Now she's fully flowing. She got the Farrah Fawcett. they get the weave. They get the weaves with the Farrah Fawcett. And this is the bad thing about it is people in Hollywood been wearing weaves since the 20s and 30s. Weaves ain't new. They didn't make fun when you see Judy Garland and Wizard of Oz wearing a weave. Extensions. They ain't nobody make fun of her, do they? You don't make fun of Marilyn Monroe, got a hair implant. Look at Marilyn Monroe. That's why a lot of people wonder if Marilyn is a cross person, because Marilyn got a hair implant. Marilyn has a piece of hair that's like right here, and they lay it over a lot of times. And that is definitely an implant. Definitely an implant. She's one of the first to get it. But you don't hear, you know, when it comes to them, they that's who they made it for. That stuff comes from Hollywood. They've been doing that shit forever in Hollywood. But yeah, it's like I grew up with you and your hair ain't that long, and all of a sudden you got flowing locks. They should go natural. She didn't get the memo. I don't think so, MJ. Yeah, natural is beautiful. Judges, too shit. Looking like Roblox. For real. For real, it really does. It's beyond understanding the price people will do for beauty. You know, remember Friday, she was trying to sleep, you know, sisters to try to sleep, wrap their hair and don't sleep on their hand because they don't want the hair messed up. That was some real stuff. They wasn't just joking about that. That was a real thing. You know, you didn't want to sleep so it'd go out. And remember, sisters, if their hair went wet, they might just blow up or something. Remember that when sisters couldn't get their hair wet, it would just throw their game out. If they got caught in the rain or something, or wet snow, and it just hit that dew, and the dew, like by the time they went outside, the dew would just be all out of control. Can they change a baby's sex in the womb? Is that possible? Well, normally, as the egg is, once the egg starts, the sperm hits the egg, those, even when the heart is developed, all that is kind of determined too when the heart comes in, because the heart is the first thing that's developed. And so a lot of that is now, that's a tough one. They could chemically change it. I'll say that. They could chemically change it. I don't know if they can naturally change it, but chemically, I think they could shoot chemicals in there. I mean, look at what they've done to us now. And this ain't no knock on anybody, but this is what's proven. And any of you guys want to do this research, look up the dude who did this study for Dow Chemicals. That's in Michigan. They asked this cat to do a study on how their chemicals are affecting the environment. And the guy did a study of the frogs near the plant and showed that once exposed to these chemicals, a male frog would start doing the nesting, just being exposed to these chemicals. And he didn't do just a week and, well, no, he did an extensive study. They tried to kill him after that. I don't even know if you can find that anymore, but he worked for Dow Chemical and he did an extensive, he even shows it. You can even do the study where he shows he does a study that shows you on film on YouTube. It used to be out. I don't know if they took this off, but they showed the behavior where the male exposed to the chemicals will start getting ready to nest, being exposed to chemicals. So that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And we are bombarded with chemicals. So it's hard to tell you. Even with the I know I joke with the paranoia and all that, but some of that could be caused by shit in our food, in the air. One of my cousins put a thing about how they raise chickens. Check this out. Now chicken breasts, like when I grew up, a chicken breast was like maybe that big and maybe that wide. Wasn't much to it. How big are chicken breasts today? In my freezer, I got chicken breasts this fat and that long. They say what they do is they give them a bunch of shit. They say these chickens get so big that it crushes their legs. And the chickens just lay on sores until they get cut up. And that's some shit that they do to them. So unless you are growing the shit yourself, and you really can't even trust the seeds because we know the seeds come from one source. So unless you're really growing your own food, your own chickens, ain't none of the shit we buy in the store is any good. I don't care if it's Whole Foods. I don't care where it's from. None of that shit's any good. Unless you personally know these butchers and personally know how they raising these animals. But if you don't know that, it's a crapshoot with the food. It really is. It's a crapshoot with the food. And our government's allowed it for a long time. Shit. I mean, you think the government cared about you when they first started doing TV dinners? Freeze drying shit? And then, like, a lot of people don't even remember TV dinner commercials. Do you know how we were bombarded with pot pie commercials and TV dinner commercials as the thing? Check this out, though. Let me drop this knowledge. You know what has turned into the TV dinner? And I'm guilty as fuck on this shit. You want to know what's turned into it? Air fryers. Air fryers is the new TV dinners. You can get an air fryer now that'll cook it'll air fry 2 different things at a time. You can have a thing on the top and a thing on the bottom. Air fryers are the new TV dinners. You don't even need to fry the shit anymore. The air will fry it for you and make the shit just as crispy, in some cases crispier. And I'm guilty as hell. Throw a handful of shit in the air fryer, here you go. I ain't got to cook, but that's the new TV dinners is air fryers. I just made that shit up too, y'all. Pick an animal from 1940 to today. They don't even look the same. No, and my mother was saying like meat. Like I don't even know what I was thinking. I went to Wendy's and I knew I was running. And sometimes I won't eat. I'll eat fruit all day and I just won't eat. And I thought I have to eat something. So I went to Wendy's. I don't know why I ordered a double burger. I hadn't ate a double burger in probably 10 years. Fuck it. Give me the double burger. I got to eating that shit. And you can tell when it's not that meat. It's just something else. And that's something my mother always says is how food don't even taste the same. And I even see that. It's like you go to certain restaurants, you get burgers. You get that Wendy's shit, McDonald's shit, Burger King, it don't even taste right. It don't even taste right. It doesn't taste like meat. And as soon as I got to eating that Wendy's stuff, I was like, this is that bullshit. I had to throw that bullshit away. Yep. But I right, MJ. They don't. Yep. You can't even trust the chemtrail rain, so nothing matters. They are terraforming Earth for the entities. Well, we talked about that many times. I mean, who likes living in smog? Who likes the contaminated water? There are beings that like that shit. And so, yeah, they're terraforming that more for them. And it took them a while to achieve it, but they've achieved it. I mean, why do you think about this? Think about LA and smog. Why would so many people live in LA with all that smog? I mean, it's gotten better, but let's be honest, that shit used to be like, why would anybody live there? So who you think was living out there? Who you think thrived out there when the 80s and 90s and well, let's go even back to the 70s, 80s. Who do you think liked all that smog out there? So makes you wonder who's living out there. Sabaka, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. You can't even trust. Nope. Just like young male children growing breast. It is. I'm gonna tell you, like when my uncle had MS, and they want to start shooting him with steroids. He grew breasts from the steroids, and I remember he used to always flap around like that. But he laughed and he was like, "Yeah, the steroids did this to me," because he had multiple sclerosis. It was a point where and really it was sad watching his decline. By the time he died, he couldn't even feed himself anymore. But I remember he was the first person that got Viagra or Cialis. They gave him. He said it was a pill, and like he was dating this woman from Myers, and people from the Midwest know what Myers is. And she worked at Myers, and every time I'd come through, she always had a smile on her face. And it made me think of what my uncle said about her. I was like, "Well, did you like it?" He was like, "Well, she liked it." I was like, "Well, you didn't like it?" He's like, "Well, I couldn't come, but she liked it. She went crazy." That's what he told me. So, I agree. New microwaves. Yeah, I don't even use a regular microwave. I haven't used a microwave in 4 years. I do not use those. I'm guilty of the air fryer. Yeah, yeah. My son caught one on fire. I don't know how he did it. And you know what, too? Like I think I gave somebody this advice. Air fryers will keep you warm too. I don't know if people notice that. Air fryers put out a lot of damn heat. It's like in the summertime, you try to sit in the kitchen with that air fryer, it gets hot as hell. They throw out a lot of heat. So if I was in a pickle, I'd be in my garage. I'd get a couple of them damn things and turn them off and on. I've never ate chicken or turkey or ham or Chinese, Spanish food, eggs in my life. Wow. Are silica-based creatures also some rock forms like the thing? Interesting. And that would make them very heavy. Haven't found that they're very heavy. Being rock entities that cloak themselves. That's interesting. I can see part of that. I can see part of that. But yeah. But yeah, that's the new easy thing. The new easy thing is them. And I'm guilty of it. They cook fries just like the restaurant. Crunchy, crispy, nuggets, chicken strips. I mean, they cook them just like you put them in all that damn oil. So that tells you oil is on them. Because look at the bottom of the fryer. There's always some shit down there. So there's oil on something. You can cook pizzas in them. I didn't know that. My son started doing. He started warming up pizzas in the air fryer. And damn if it don't crust the bottom and cook the top at the same time. So you never know. You never know. But that's our modern world. That we want things easier. We want things easier for ourselves. Quick meals. And I'm guilty. You know, why cook these chicken breasts or bake them or pan fry them when I can just stick the shit in the fridge, in the air fryer. So much easier. Not the healthiest though. And up here, it's like you can't eat watermelon up here because frozen watermelon just ain't good. It doesn't stay good. I have not ever gotten good watermelon in January or February in the state. So you're stuck eating bananas, oranges, apples. We keep a lot of apples. Blueberries is okay. Raspberries can be iffy, black or red. Lettuce though seems like we can always get lettuce and greens. So, what's the worst Super Bowl to you? I would say the 4 losses of the Buffalo. I think those was the worst. The missed field goal, even manipulated missing when Buffalo had it, and Jim Kelly did his thing. I mean, Jim Kelly really did his thing. You watch that last minute, that last drive to get him in the 40-yard range or 50. I mean, Jim Kelly did his thing. He did everything he was supposed to do. And they had the Giants beat. They had it. And that's fucker. They manipulated and missed the field goal. He missed it on purpose. Yeah, that. But all the Giants games was just, it made no sense. Washington playing Denver. You know, people forget John Elway lost 3 or 4 Super Bowls before he won 2. He lost 3 or 4. And Doug Williams, what did they score? 30 points in the second quarter. Doug Williams threw 4 touchdowns, and Timmy Smith, who had never did anything great but that Super Bowl, he had like 200 rushing yards. Didn't play after. Was out the league right after the Super Bowl, never did anything substantial before the Super Bowl, but in the Super Bowl, he's the best runner of all time. That's what they do. That's how they set these games up. That Super Bowl was bullshit too, even though I wanted Doug Williams to win, but it was bullshit Super Bowl. Drop it, Ryan. 8-win former Bucks player exposed how the Super Bowl is rigged. If you want, I can drop the link here. It was a radio interview that happened last week. Yeah, I think we talked about it. Yep, I think we talked about it. What's for it? He capping. From the QV, I say Super Bowl 50 was the worst. Remind me who's playing. John Elway was going to pitch for the Yankees before going to Denver. No. Elway was drafted by somebody else, and him and his daddy was Jack Elway, and Jack Elway was the Stanford coach. It was the Colts. The Colts drafted Elway, and Jack Elway, the daddy, said he ain't coming there. They just threatened the baseball thing, but he said he wasn't coming there, and they made the trade where he went to Denver. The first time that happened, too, in the modern era was with Ernie. What's his name? Ernie, one of the first black dude to win the Heisman. Ernie, damn, I'm having an old man. But Ernie got drafted by the Washington Redskins, and Ernie said he wasn't going. Ernie, not Nevers, that's an old 20s football player. Ernie Davis. Ernie Davis said he wasn't going to play with Washington because Washington was the last team to have brothers. So he refused to go to Washington. So Washington traded, and Washington ended up with Bobby Mitchell. And we know what happened. Bobby Mitchell ended up having a Hall of Fame career. They gave Ernie Davis cancer, leukemia. They gave Ernie Davis leukemia. They sacrificed Ernie Davis because he won that Heisman. Because think about it. You was going to have in the backfield Ernie Davis and Jim Brown. Jim Brown was a fullback. Ernie Davis was a halfback. Been a hard duel to stop. Yeah, they couldn't risk that. Couldn't risk it. And Ernie Davis' place was taken by Leroy Kelly. And you had Leroy Kelly and Jim Brown in the backfield. And when Jim Brown didn't play, Leroy Kelly kept going and had some decent seasons. I don't think Jim Kelly's going to make the Hall of Fame, but decent back. This Super Bowl definitely was the worst. The Falcons one? Yeah, the Falcons one was bad. That was really bad, JK. That was really bad. I thought he was really going to play. Yep. But thank you, Ryan, for that information. Miguel, thank you for joining. But yeah. Not to say he didn't play college baseball. He played college baseball too. He might have even played farm league baseball. We know Russell Wilson did. Russell Wilson played minor league baseball. Danny Ainge, that runs the Celtics, he played for the Blue Jays before he ended up going playing with who did he? He didn't get drafted by Boston. Maybe he did. Maybe he did get drafted by Boston at first. Yep. Miguel and Jay, type in Ronnie TK's former Bucks 50 champ, says NFL rigging Tampa Bay 03 title illegitimate. Well, yeah, we talk about that all the time. The Tampa Bay, how crooked that one was. You got the ex-coach who got traded. You got the defensive coordinator becoming the head coach, and you don't change any of your offense. And again, Jerry Rice and Tim Brown both say that the game plan was changed. Strong run. Napoleon Kaplan, I think was his name. He was one of the backs, I believe. And then the center goes crazy. not only goes crazy, he goes to Mexico. Because where was that Super Bowl? Had to be in California somewhere to the border. But the quarterback has a mental breakdown. I don't know if nervous breakdown is correct. And he doesn't play in the Super Bowl. And again, who makes the calls, the blocking calls? Every play is the center. Excuse me if I said quarterback, but it was the center, their center. So just like I was saying about when and technically Cincinnati had San Francisco beat. A dude clearly had an interception to win the game for Cincinnati, and he drops it on purpose. Dude, Montana, before he threw it to Wilson, he threw it to this DB the play before, and the dude, he catches it and he lets it go. It wasn't a hard pass or nothing. It came right to him. He caught it and he let it go. So I'm wondering, did they have earbuds then? Because he catches the ball and then he lets it go. And then the next play they win. But he intercepts the ball. That's ball game. He drops it on purpose. That's why I go back to the tuck rule. They call that a fumble. The game is over. New England didn't have any more timeouts. We got the ball in decent field position. We running the timeout. Raiders go to the Super Bowl, play the Rams. Probably would have even beat the Rams. The greatest show on turf, I think they would have beat them. My grandbaby always chewed cigars, White Owls. Yeah, I don't smoke them. I just chew them. And these ones I chew have a little honey in them. So it's kind of a pleasant taste. And then, it just gets so dry up here too. It gets so dry. And humidifiers are good. But again, I live down here with these lakes, down by these lakes. So it's already high humidity. Even in wintertime, it's high humidity. And so humidifiers aren't recommended to run all the time, even the people that have them in their homes. So the cigars help a little bit with the throat because it's so dry, and like when it's cold like this, you have the heat cranked up. So it gets really dry. And then I forgot to get more essential oil for my humidifier too. Yep. And the distilled water, because you should put distilled water in humidifiers. Won't mess up your unit. Sometimes I even have the warm humidifiers, like for the Vicks. I put those in. Like if I'm a little congested, I plug in the warm humidifier, put a little Vicks in it. And now they got the Vicks patches. You can get the Vicks patches and put the patches on your chest, and it'll help you breathe. Those of you that have those issues in the wintertime. It's like my lips stay dry. That's why I keep some chapstick when I be talking, because my lips stay dry just from talking. But these are just some little hints that are helpful. And I switched to these instead of getting the throat lozenges. These have less sugar and do the same thing. They just got menthol. That's all you get the lozenges for, is the menthol. These have the exact same thing and not as much sugar. And they're not fake sugar either, but less sugar in these. Super Bowl 37 was in San Diego, Tampa. Yeah. For Humorous. Yeah, I think so too. 3.720. Yeah, very much. They said pregnant women shouldn't get yeah, I saw that. Tesla and Bitcoin. I did see that too. He bought 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Did you guys see the cat where they seized this stuff of $60 billion of Bitcoin? Something like that, $60 million worth of Bitcoin. And he tells them that the police have it seized. They can't get into it. So they don't have it. And I don't think the dude is in jail, but they call themselves seizing his asset. They can't get in it. And they've been trying to get in it, but they can't get in it. They can't get his money. So they really don't have it. He's laughing at them. And, they following him and all that shit. Ever get excitement from these games knowing it's rigged? Well, if you watched me yesterday, what happened when Brown caught his touchdown? Didn't I get hyped? Did not get hyped because he ran a beautiful route. I like seeing beautiful plays. Brown ran that, shitted on him. I got hyped over that because it was a good play, a good individual play. And I like receivers anyway. So there are individual moments that we can still enjoy. That's the sport. But we still know that the agenda is there. Like somebody commented and said, you comment like, why isn't so and so playing and stuff like it's a real game? No, we understand that it's fake, but it's still to show a show. We don't understand why you didn't use one of your assets. That's what I'm saying. Now, would he change the game? Yay or nay? We don't know. But still, the guy was active. Why didn't they play? All year, you don't went with when you had three healthy backs. All year, all three of them played. 25 went down. Matter of fact, they have four backs because they had number 31 that plays back 2 and 25. They have Bell. So they had three solid backs that they played. Those three backs played all the time. 25 went down. 31 went down. Bell was the main back for a couple games. Now, last I knew, Bell was active. They didn't play him. Now, was Bell going to change the game? Probably not. Nope. Oh, you said granddaddy. I'm sorry, MJ. I read it wrong. But yeah, I'd rather chew it than smoke it for sure. They're going back on that 15-minute too. Do you guys ever? So I still like plays. Arrested for not wearing the mask. Wow. They want to arrest you here. Here, all you got to do is have the doctor's note. You go in the store, you show them the doctor's note, they leave the fuck alone. Yep. That's what they even say. They say that just have a note. If you don't want to wear it, and most doctors will say okay. Like my son says, I wear some plastic shit around here, guys. I wear it in the Mall of America. I wear it in all the stores. I wear a plastic mask that's come to here. I've showed it before. If this shit was real, they would be on me for wearing that shit. All they ask you is face covering. Hell, I could do this shit, pull this shirt up and put it over my nose and be fine, long as it stayed there. What do you see most people? They got the mask under their nose and shit. So you see the senseless shit of it. It's fake. It's not real shit. Comes down to Super Bowl in Tampa and the Buccaneers. You can't get it. Exactly. I say, no, thank you. I can't for medical purposes and keep pushing. There you go. I would go on saying if I'm still wearing the word COVID in May. So sick of that. Yeah, we all are. The way they've changed things and try to see who would obey. That's the thing that's all it means. We wearing a mask, it's obey and nothing less. When they release a real thing, it's going to escalate medically and gun confiscation. Well, that's where the fights would come. And are you willing to kill people over that? Because people would fight to the death over taking their guns in America. So would they bring in UN troops for that? Because Americans ain't. Remember what they were saying about certain sheriffs. They wasn't gonna, respond. So there are certain departments in this country that would not confiscate them. Damn, I can't get it in the hole. There we go. So there are police departments that would not confiscate, that would not work with the government on taking the guns. And this is a fact. This is a fact. So that's what they're going to be up against. So you're going to have whole counties. So who's going to go in and fight in these counties? Military ain't, because some of the milits, because right now all they got is reserves. There's still a lot of troops in Iraq. There's still a lot of troops in, but remember, Trump sent 30,000 more people in Europe. There's still troops in Iraq, excuse me. Now they pulled all the troops out of Afghanistan, where it's more troops in DC than Afghanistan. And then, do you think them troops coming out of DC anytime soon? So you get the Democratic Party to put their people in a mock kind of taking over the Capitol. Because I've said this before, when they cut me off before. Killers wasn't at that event in DC. Them wasn't killers. We got good old boys that are real killers that would have went in there, that could go in that Capitol and all you do is find the bodies. When you try to take over something like that and you taking reporters with you, you ain't trying to take it over. Let me say this again. We got real killers in America that could have went in that Capitol and took them all out, and all you would see is the bodies. You'd have never saw the killers. They would have. What do they show you in movies? They doc the movies. They doc the videos. Nobody knows where they come from. That's what America has. When they send people to other countries, they do this shit nobody knows. Mission Impossible shit. So the Democrats send them people to do the fake stuff, and then the Democrats bring in 20,000 troops to be around the city. What are they afraid of? I still think they the ones behind this thing going around, because that was the only way they could beat Trump, was making this stuff up. And you can't say, and I know people hate this argument, but you can't say the Democrats didn't benefit from this. No one can sit here and look at me and say the Democratic Party did not benefit from the way things are now. They clearly benefit from it, because let's be honest, without this thing, if this thing wouldn't have happened last year, going into this campaign, Trump would have won again. Easy. So we see a party benefiting from this. They was the first one to want to show the mask, designer mask, and all that. But remember that. We got a country of killers. We got the best killers in the world. The imbecile psychopaths are bred. We have bred killers of generations of killers. What do you think American Sniper was? One man killed 200 some people. And you watching the movie of the person that does it. He killed 200 people, y'all. That's a mass murder. Now you want to say mass murder ain't in war. Wasn't no real reason for us to be over there. You really think everybody he killed had some kind of strategic importance? It was like that many people that could just be sniped that might turn the tide of war if he killed them. You believe that? Anybody out there believe that? That him alone, by killing 200 people, stopped the tide of the war? That's not believable, is it? But that's what they feed us. And remember, this man killed 200 plus people. 200 people by himself with a scope and a spotter. And then they might have killed him, or he went underground. I look at both scenarios. He was dangerous to them. If he just said fuck the army, he was dangerous to them, because he could have did that for somebody else. And so if they killed him for that, very possible. Or other countries was trying to get him to work for him so much they had to put him underground. That's also a possibility. So, but that's not the picture they paint. Like the man was just crazy. Remember at the end of the movie, just the guy sitting at the truck was like, this is Ralph. He's having a hard time. He was over there a few years and he's having a hard time. And I can't think of anything better to do than to relax and go shoot some rounds. Now, shooting is relaxing. I admit I enjoy shooting. I'll shoot up a couple $100 worth of bullets, and it is relaxing. But on the other hand, as a rehab, shooting has a kind of a slight bit of violence about it. You would think people that are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome from war wouldn't want anything to do with pow, pow, pow. Because just common sense would tell you that would trigger some kind of emotions, just hearing gunshots. I've told the story before. My uncle visited me when I was 5 years old. He was in the Navy in Vietnam. He did a little land fighting being in the Navy. They had to do some shit. He hears thunder. He hits the deck. He hits the deck. So do you understand? Do you understand the lies? Ain't nobody trying to rehab shooting. Shooting does, it's going to trigger something else. It's not going to trigger you being healthy. That's just the cover story. Yeah, I would agree somewhat. I would agree a little bit. Yep.
They had to steal their own computer so a real civilian didn't break into it and get the yeah, MJ. What is your full opinion of Q? Well, I went off on people on Facebook because this is the thing. It's like no one believes any kind of information or studying happened before Q. And that's why I went off on Facebook. I said, I have a page of 10 years of exposing bullshit. Q only been around the last year or two. So you telling me that 10 years ago, the shit I'm researching. Matter of fact, I knew about Gary Webb back when his shit came out. I don't remember how I got the information, but I got the information back when it came out. And I was telling the people, the CIA the ones behind this shit. And then Kalamazoo, Michigan misses 22 keys. They are so sloppy with their evidence. Somebody's ever to go into there and steal 22 keys from a police station. That's some real Mission Impossible shit. And then the next week, that dope is back out in the streets because I know whose dope it was. And it was back out on the streets within 24 hours after they said it was missing. They didn't even take the dope and sell it somewhere else. They were selling the shit right back in Kalamazoo. So Q is some it's a psyop in a lot of ways. There's some truths in it, but most of it was just psyop to discredit Republicans, conservatives. It was a psyop to discredit. It was like, again, the CIA made up spell. Conspiracy theory is a CIA spell made up for people who disagreed with the Kennedy assassination. And they just continued to spell on. If you didn't agree with the norm, at first it was if you didn't agree with the government, but then it became if you don't agree with the norm, you're a conspiracy theorist. That's why I don't take that spell. I send arrows back if people say that shit to me. Now, if you don't know me that well and you say that shit, okay. But if you've known me for a minute and looked at some of my works, you say that shit to me, I take that as a spell. And I throw arrows in your dreams. You be running in your dreams. You close your fucking eyes. That shit'll be coming at your ass. Like the fat man out of Chicago that lives in California. How your dreams going? Yeah. We'll see the look on his face to see if he rested or not tomorrow. See if he looked rested. Used to actually be on the floor crawling around like he was in Vietnam. This was high school. She used to have to get him. He used to drive and all that shit too. Drugs is the biggest joke of this country, right? Jeffrey, like I said with my great uncle fought in World War II. And my great uncle would get drunk and think he was seeing Japs and shit and Germans. And we was just sitting there one day. And like, I don't know, all the men in my family always had guns. So the guns being out or the guns sticking in their pants, it was kind of just used to that shit. It wasn't no big deal. And so we just sitting on the porch. And the next thing we know, my great uncle done cocked that goddamn 1911. And he is trying to shoot this dude. And he had got drunk. And he's like, there goes one of them Nazis right there. And he was like about to shoot the dude. We had to jump on him and take the gun from him. Luckily, he had kept the goddamn, he kept the safety on it. But it's like, unk. But he hated Japanese. He hated Germans till the day he died. Never cared for them. So, yep, I got to see that too. Now they believe everyone's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what they want you to think. They want to hit you with that spell because, again, that's all they can do. All they can do is try to, like one girl that I was talking earlier about, I forget the shit we was talking about. It was like I was killing her points, and then and I don't even get into it, but I just felt like fucking with somebody, to be honest. And I was like, you capping, right? I done killed your point. And so when you kill the person's point, they try to attack you. Because there's nothing else they can say. The conversation done went where ain't nothing else they can bring where they feel is power than other than insulting you. So I just laugh at that shit because that shit's funny. It is very sad. I'll say this, the last shootout I was in, I was thinking about this the other day. I was telling my son, the last shootout I was in 90, 90. Well, shit, might have been before then. 93. I mean, you get shot at, about 15 bullets fly around you, and you see how you feel after that. Then you shooting back at people. I mean, that was nothing that I got over in one day. My woman got over in one day, being shot at like that, over especially some fucking weed. Me having to shoot at people. You know how long I carried guns after that? I almost shot the guy. I came face to face with the guy. I had two guns. He didn't have a gun. And I could have just murdered him, just murdered the dude. Because his woman lived, like I lived on one end of the apartments, and his woman lived on the other end of the apartments. Don't know why I did that, but okay. And they ended up moving out because they was afraid we was going to shoot their place up. And he had a baby and a woman, and they ended up moving out. But I had several chances where I could have just killed him easy. Matter of fact, I hit one dude that was one of the shooters with a beer bottle. I was in the store and he walked past me. He didn't notice me. And pow, I smashed a 40 on his head. And then he later got hit by a car and killed. I was in 2 shootouts and time slowed down. Can't say the time slowed down to me, but it was like I would just happen to be playing with my gun, and guys tried to, somebody came to the door to buy some weed, and I opened the door and 2 dudes with guns pointing guns at me, and I didn't have my gun, but just the way the door was configured, and I just happened to be playing with my gun on the floor. And so it was like where you had to leave the living room, you had to walk downstairs to open the door. And I just looked at the situation. There was 2 people trying to stand on these stairs that was really meant for one person. And the guy had a 45, and I just pushed him and started shutting the door on him. Now their guy is in my house, so they can't start shooting, or they're going to shoot him. And I was able to, I had something, my back, like the way the door was made, the frames, or not the frame, but the way the hallway was made, I could hold the door with pressure with my back supported by just the wall. And the guy that was trying to fight me, I actually pushed his face into the drywall and bust the drywall up on his face, and was telling my woman to bring me my gun. And so finally I got the door shut, and I was about to shoot his ass. She had me my pistol, and I was about to shoot him. And if she wouldn't have said, don't shoot him, I probably would have shot him in my apartment. And it might have been murder, because at that point, he didn't have a gun. His guys had guns, but he didn't. And so if she wouldn't have said, don't shoot him, I would have shot him. But yeah, it's not something that you just get over overnight. It fucks with you. Bullets flying around you and shit. I had an old dude lived under me. And I'm not saying this shit bragging. This shit is like, was a real experience. I was just there in this situation. The bullets missed me. Interesting. Now I've been around places where I was kind of far back from people shooting. I watched these 2 chicks fight with baseball bats. It looked like they was fighting with lightsabers. They was hitting each other with baseball. They was fighting with these aluminum bats, and they was like clunking the bats together. And it was like the Star Wars lightsabers, the way they was trying to hit each other. And I told the story before. I had a Uzi from a Sharper Image, and it was a blank. It shot blanks. And I had some people talk shit to me and pulled the Uzi out and cleared the whole park. Like they thought I was shooting real bullets at them. And I was actually just shooting blanks, like 1,000 blanks. Like, what? 1,000 bullets, how long that shit sound? I don't know if it was 1,000 bullets, but it was that fake gun. It was at least 300. At least 300 bullets was in that fake Uzi. But it sounded like the real thing. And you're hearing the bullets falling on the ground. You're hearing the empty rounds falling. My dad does not speak about Vietnam. He will answer if asked to correct or incorrect. Never dealt with it. Wow. A lot of situations I've been in, I wasn't involved. Just out in the place. Nothing ever happened to me, and that's good. Yeah, I got lucky. Like my ex roommate, who was also a heroin addict, was a non-vet. And, he told me a lot of this stuff. And then I just did a lot of studying too. And the guys who would talk, like I work with a cat that was a medic, and he wouldn't talk about it. It was just like, well, I was like, well, what did you do? I was a medic. Where were you stationed? He would tell, the country, the part of Vietnam he was at. That was about it. Now, my great uncle, he would talk about World War II all the time. He'd get a little sauce. You ever seen a Nazi on fire? Like, what the fuck is a Nazi on fire? Like, no, I've never seen a Nazi with his ass on fire, Uncle. What is that shit? And he never would explain it, but later what he was talking about is tracers. They'd be snipers, like German snipers in the trees. And so when you shoot 30 cal at them, the heavy machine gun has tracer rounds, and the tracer round is kind of a guide that you're shooting straight. So every so many rounds are tracer rounds. And so when the tracer round, again, it's a little ball of fire. And if it hits you, it can catch you on fire. And that's what he was talking about. Tracers would hit the Nazis. He would get hit with bullets and tracers, and it would actually catch him on fire. It took me a long time to find that out, but that's what my uncle told me. And I never forgot that. But he talked about, killing people in Africa, killing people in Italy. He went with Patton until Patton got fired. He went with Patton. He went with the Third Army all the way to Germany, because that's how it was before then. You stayed in World War II and the Civil War and World War I. You stayed in the war until it ended. Vietnam, they started one and done. You stayed a year. You had actually 11 months, and then they rotate you home. No way to win a war like that. I always pay attention to my surroundings. Me too. And I do like even firing lanes. That's a big thing, nowadays. You just can't crazily shoot. You have to kind of, you own the bullet that you shoot. And so you have to look at firing lanes. I look at, like, even living where I live, I look at how they can shoot at me without hurt, because their buildings are all back behind me, but I have to look at the same thing. There's only certain places that would be advantageous to not hit civilians, because I live around a bunch of families. So I have to think about that too. So if they was coming after me, which they ain't got no reason to come after me, but I'm just saying, I look at how they could attack me, and then I would look how I could attack them back. I mean, it just couldn't be that random back and forth like you see in movies, because there's too many civilians. And they have the same rules that they can't just shoot wildly at you. And it happens, but not often. I mean, I believe with the mask, these entities can sort of walk around easier. Yeah, I observe everything. One thing, like with Wes Paneri's work that he said, and West is one of the other ones that can see non-humans, and he saw a non-human that it had the human clothes on, but he was like, he described it. He said it looked like a hippopotamus dressed in clothes. And he said the thing is walking down the street, nobody's noticed it, and the thing noticed that West could see it. And I think West said he was in Europe or somewhere. And the thing just noticed that he was the only one could see it. Everybody else couldn't see it. And he said the thing kept walking like it wasn't no big deal. Like I mentioned, when I would see 10 years ago, when I would see non-humans, they would get kind of nervous. Not anymore. I've seen non-humans, their children. It's no thing now to them. They don't care if you can see it or not. Remember how with the glasses, they would get all mad because you take off the glasses and could see them? Yeah, they don't care that you can see them anymore. It's that many of them around. I want to put this picture of this non-human sister, and you can just see it in her face that she is just not a human. And they made her a sister, and she's got the weave and everything, but her face is just too perfect. It's just too perfect. And I was going to send it to Tasha because she was asking me to send it. But it's somebody I ran into on Facebook, because I be just hitting that friend shit to make them take that shit off. They be putting there, do you know this person? Fuck you. Take this shit off. Because it once was, if you liked too many people or invited too many people or tried to add too many people, they would stop putting that shit on your feed. So I would do that on purpose. And they were like, well, this is this. They're like, they would send me some stuff. This was the 1,000th person you sent. And none of these people want to be your friend, buddy. So you need to quit sending. And I'd be like, quit damn putting that shit on quit putting suggestions of friends on my page. I've got 4,000. It goes between 95 and 5,000 on Facebook. And a lot of people, if they see you have a lot of friends on Facebook, they'll become your friends just because of that stupid shit. Well, he has a lot of friends. I think we need to be friends with him. He has a lot of friends. Well, do you know him? I don't know him, and he writes some controversial shit, but he has a lot of friends, especially females. Females be like, Well, he's an old man, but he has a lot of friends. and I get a lot of the crystal people too, and the spiritual people and the witches. I get all that as well. What is the weirdest non-human you saw? That's a good one. I think the most surprising is the sister I'm talking about. I saw a family though, arms shorter than normal, but not quite deformed looking. But the whole family had like really little short arms, almost. It was like, to the point where they look handicapped. The arms were so short. I saw a whole family like that one time. And I think that was the weirdest thing. And it was like their arms were borderline deformed short. But, and like the arms was just like, this was their whole arm, it was just like this, little short arm. But all of them had that. That was probably the weirdest, I thought. It's like, that's not possible that all of them, like the husband and wife supposedly ain't related. How does she have them short arms too? She ain't related. Now you can say, well, the children picked it up from the father if he had the short arms, but how do you justify the wife? See, and that's how I caught it was strange. So that was probably the most weirdest thing, seeing the short arm people. Now, what, I don't get into where they come from. T-Rex arms, yeah. Yeah. Now these are some Europeans. They look Europeans. Yep, they look European. And that was a while ago, like 15 years ago, I ran across them. But it's just a little short. Yeah, like you said, the T-Rex arms, all of them, even the wife had the little short arms. And it was like, when you see the short arms, but it's not quite short to be, handicapped. But like you look at them and it's like, again, the arms look like this. Not all shoulder. It was like short arm, like it came off almost like that. No shoulder, like shoulder and then short arm like this. It was like the arm just came hardly more than like this off the shoulder. I would say maybe like that much. I know it's kind of odd. Shoulder and just a little short arm, but it's like a noticeable, but at the like right, not quite looking deformed, but not looking right either. It was like right at the cusp of, well, I do know some short arm people, but they don't look quite deformed. So I don't know. A lot of people even picked up on that. But the wife to me was like, now that's not, I could see the children, but not the wife. The wife shouldn't have short arms too. I don't know any towns where short arm people are. And I'm not making fun of anybody, but I'm just saying the wife wouldn't have had that same malady. She wouldn't have had that. So that's probably the weirdest. I should show just I should blurt out the eyes of this chick on Facebook though and let y'all see her. I mean, if it was ever a person like wear the mask or something, this chick is wearing a mask. Do you think the Elephant Man wasn't from here, John Merrick? I mean, they said he became like that after age 8. Maybe he was early test or something, maybe alien. That kind of, I don't know, man, because I had a cousin that perfect little boy up till he was 4 or 5, and meningitis or something hit him. And to this day, he can't talk, walk. It's like he was a healthy little boy up to 5, and he went from a healthy boy to totally nothing. Can't take care of himself. He's now in his 20s, and he's totally dependent. So it's like, I think it was meningitis that hit him, but he went from healthy 5-year-old to newborn. And he's been a newborn the rest of his life. He can't talk. He can see, kind of smiles. Whole life been like, he went from a little boy that can run around. The rest of his life, he's wheelchair bound. And I mean, not wheelchair bound and can move around. No, not like that. But I mean, wheelchair bound and you got to move him around. And of course, this country, we take care of our people. We educate them and, they leave the house every day, get them, but yeah. So that happened to him. So it is very possible, chemicals in the air. I don't know. Like little cousin, they never really said what did it. Again, I think they threw meningitis out there, but not sure. I'd have to ask his mom. But his mom did a good job with him. Vaccines possibly. Yeah, that's a possibility too. That's a possibility too. Because he was a healthy, normal little boy up to 5.
And then like overnight, whatever hit him, yeah, because he almost died at first. And he's, if you call that living, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about us humans is we do take care of our handicapped people. And it's really a kind of a beautiful thing in a lot of ways. Whereas other countries, it's been shown where, they would purge the handicapped people. Russia was like that too. You guys ever see like the World War II movies of no, not even this. I'll change it. Have you guys ever seen what happens to a baby that doesn't get held? Do you guys ever see that? A baby that never gets held, never gets human contact. The babies like convulse. They have convulsions from not having the human contact. And you can, I watched this kind of films when I was taking psych classes at A&T. But you probably can still find those films. But they was just showing what happens to a baby without human contact. It starts having convulsions. It's really a sad condition. And like they would show the Russians that just all these babies and not enough people to pick them up. And these babies just be in their cribs like almost all day. They get fed, clothed, changed, but there's not enough people working in the orphanage to pick these babies up. And it affects them. It affects them mentally too. But not only affects them mentally, their body starts physically reacting not to having the human touch. And do you know, like even look at a baby in your family. Like my grandfather started bonding with me at a very young age. He would hold me. My mother would change me and stuff, and he couldn't wait. He'd get off work and just hold me and play with me, watch me crawl, watch me chase behind him when I got old enough. And he's the one that gave me my nickname of Toby. He was a Navy guy, and he walked like this. Old Navy dudes walk like they still on the ships. He was only in the service for about 4 years, and he still the rest of his life he walked like he was on the ship. You watch early rappers with LL Cool J, the way they pimp. They imitating sailors in New York. Remember how they would walk? Anybody that knows sailors, that's what they was imitating. Teenage Love. No, or is it Fairy Tale by Slick Rick? No, Bad. I'm Bad. Look at the end of I'm Bad and watch when LL, there's a shot where LL and all the New York cats is coming to the camera and watch how they call pimp walk, but they copying sailors. They walking like a sailor on a boat would walk. Yeah, those kids in Russia, bad off. Yeah, that's how my grandparents were. Oh, okay. But yeah, that's, and that he bonded with me from a very young age. I remember we must have moved away or something with my stepdad. And I remember my grandfather came, he bought me one of the huge candy bars and he just tickled me and body slammed me. And, because I would just tackle him. Like my dad and my stepdad, I would just tackle him when I was little, but that was coming from my grandfather. I mean, the thing about a man is, in some ways, a man has to teach other men how to love. It's like the way you are raised. If you have the right amount of treatment from a man, it takes men to, like, I'll give you an example of what I'm saying if I found it confusing. My father didn't play with me as much as my grandfather or my stepfather. It just wasn't his nature. I mean, once in a while, but it just wasn't his nature. Therefore, when I went into my brothers' lives, when they were 4 and 5, I played with them the way my grandfather played and my stepfather played with me. So they were taught by another man that kind of relationship from me. So I know they treat their children that way because that's how when they play with my 1-year-old, when my boy was little and they were still older teenagers, they would play with my son the way I played with them. And so it kind of takes a man in some ways to teach other men how to love. And that's a part that I think is lost. I mean, I was listening to a rap song. What was it? It was they were doing a sample of Tupac, and it was like, how'd the line go? When the mama was the mama and the daddy, and that's far too many people. And that's part of what crack did destroy. That's part of what welfare destroyed. Again, look at Claudine. They rewarded Claudine for not having a man in the house. Long as Claudine didn't have extra stuff according to her lifestyle, she could still get her welfare. But the minute she had a man come in, no more welfare, no more health insurance. It was like she had to hide the toaster and the TV because she could lose her welfare for having those small little things. They show her hiding from the welfare lady, the lady coming from the welfare office. They couldn't even have a little black and white TV that cost probably $10 back then. $10, little TV, 12-inch, $10. Toaster was probably $3 or $4. But this was done on purpose. I mean, you guys ever pick up the thing they talk about? They use it for different countries, but it was Britain talking about India. How there was no poor people in India. When the British first went into India, they didn't find any poor people. They didn't understand it. Before all that class race stuff that they do these days. But when the English went in there, no poor people. Sick was taken care of. And they do a statement of, until we break their spiritual system, we'll never affect these people. So they have to do psyops on the people to start believing like them. Like I was talking about when I started Josh Okogie. He's Nigerian. You know, one of the things he said, when I'm with my parents and we go to church. Now, there's a lot of Africans that come here. Now, most of the Somalians that come here are Muslims. But from them other countries, they are Christians. I dated a girl. She was like, we can't argue about faith. I'm a Christian. There are African Christian churches all around this area. Again, this state brings in a lot of immigrants because they need the numbers. They want to boost the voting numbers. That's why they brought the Hmong in. That's why they brought all these Somalians in. Again, both of them brought in by the CIA. Both of them brought in by the CIA. The Hmong were fighting with the CIA against the Vietnamese. And so they brought them here. And the same way with the Somalians. The Somalians were part of trying to overthrow the government. And the U.S. backed them. And then when they lost, they had to move almost 50, 60,000, maybe to 100,000 here because they were getting killed. But you justify that. You can see that why they were going to be killed. I mean, think about it. You're fighting in a war and these people are fighting against you. What do you think? Like you get in the mountain yards and you get the Hmong. These is two people. Now, mountain yard look like black folks. If y'all ever seen a mountain yard person, look them up. They look like black folks, but not the Hmong. The Hmong are traditionally Chinese people. That's why they didn't give a fuck about the Vietnamese. So they gladly helped the Americans. But when the American pulled out, they had to get all them, and they brought. There's almost 500,000 of them, and they brought over 100,000 to 200,000 here in the early 80s. Maybe even before. I blow big stacks. Told me that my problem with communism, what it is to me. Do you hear me? Everyone hear me about saying, what's my problem with communism? People don't realize what is being taught in school. That's true. Welfare equals farewell to fathers. Good one. If all households don't have men in it, it would go down quickly. Flavor Flav had that walk. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you do. All about business. All business boxing. Thank you for joining me. What year do you believe being taught communist views was okay? 201. I know it started in the 80s, but it's the point. Yeah, well, I mean, liberalism is a type of communism. Just as people think saying people are socialists doesn't mean they're communists. Liberalism and socialism are arms of communism. I mean, just look up the Communist Manifesto. It tells you this. I mean, people should have busted out liberals a long time ago. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover, the one thing he had right was to fight the communists. And that was one thing that he did. He fought the shit out of them.
he ignored almost everybody else. He ignored the mafia. Well, Costa Nostra, not really the mafia. The mafia was never in America. We had Costa Nostra, which is a different type, or syndicate, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, and people accept it. And Democrats will tell you they're liberal. Well, we got a man in there, and right now I'll tell you he's a Zionist. Zionism goes with communism. Russia is run by Jewish faith people who invented communism. Marx, Engels, these, look at all the people, Stalin, Trotsky, Lenin, all Jewish faith people. That's why that Trotsky show on Netflix is the trip, because he says that the Russians will never allow a Jewish faith person. Like, wait a minute, them other dudes is Jewish too. Why would they lie about that? They'd only say Trotsky. All of them changed their names. That wasn't their original. Stalin's original name wasn't Stalin. Just like Lenin. Those was names they took on to sound less Jewish faith. So it's a Jewish state, just as much as Israel. So is China. China is run by Jewish faith people. It ain't run by the Chinese. You don't accept a Jewish faith concept of governing. But again, they love that because it's easier to slave people under those systems. It is easier to slave people under the communist system. And that's what we are looking at now with the mask. It's a type of communism to wear the mask. Remember how we had to wait in line this summer? They was limiting people in the stores. They still got them limit signs. I go into Marshall's. I don't know if y'all got Marshall's. Marshall's, when Macy's don't sell clothes, they got Marshall's, TJ Maxx. Some of y'all may have TJ Maxx, some whatever they call. But there's some of these stores still have limits. This was when they showed communisms in the 70s and the 80s, that's what you saw. People standing in lines in these Eastern Bloc countries or Russia. They had to stand in line to get shit. And what did they have us doing just a year ago? Standing outside, waiting to get in the store because only 30 or 40 people could be in the store at the same time. These are communist things that to see if we would accept it. But the mask is the biggest communist thing, to see if everybody will accept it as the norm. There's no reason to wear them. Again, masks are made to stop spit and open wounds and nothing more. Now, if you want to talk to me about ventilators, that's something different. Again, 3M will make money regardless, because 3M makes almost all the ventilator filters. Because that's what I was going to wear first, was just wear ventilators. You say it's so bad, I'm going to get goggles and I'm going to wear a ventilator around. But you never saw that. And my brother brought up the point, we should have been wearing masks from jump. If it was so, from the first day they said this shit, that should have been the next push. Well, guys, we think we can help. Here the mask. Bring them into schools. Bring them into malls. You walk around, get a mask. Hell, think about it like this. They can openly give up condoms. They can walk around and give people condoms. They can walk around and give people needles to shoot heroin. Was it Pittsburgh or Philadelphia got a place where you can go shoot heroin, and if you die, they got the narco to sit there and bring you back. Well, I might go away, and boom, he's right back. Oh, he's leaning over there. Does he need it? They got shooting galleries that are legal now in some states. So how hard would it have been to push to give everybody masks from jump? And then the psyop of the movie showing it. Again, I give the example of Westworld, which was done in 19. I think the third season was from 19. You look in the background, people wearing masks. So they trying to subliminal give that shit to you in the movies the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of the anime, hero, their hero, all of them wear masks. So it's a psyop. It's not going to, like, it's funny. My best friend was like, I just asked him what the mask was for. And he was like, well, to protect you from others. See, again, that ain't you using your brain. That's you parroting what you hear on TV. And that's why I get into word spells with people. They put out word spells and want you to parrot it. New normal. Remember how they was doing that? And people was showing the news that these are spells. And the news is the biggest speller of all of them. They will push spells on your local news in a minute to the point you don't even want to watch the shit. Once you know and you see the spells, you don't even want to watch the shit. How is that the local news talking about the same shit that the national news talking about? And you can say, okay, well, you talk the shit about CNN, but you go to Fox, you go to MSNBC, it's all the same shit sometimes. It's like I want to watch the money, and then I got to hear current events every 45 minutes. They got to come in there and do the spell shit. Well, today it's going on in America. They had what? I don't know if any of y'all watch the money channels, but every 45 minutes they're gonna give you what's nationally going on. When all you're doing is trying to follow stocks, figure out how you trading, and then every 45 minutes they're gonna hit you with the national news. Why? Why do they do that? If it wasn't a psyop, if it wasn't types of spells. And believe me, the way most of us speak, we speak in spell. Songs even say the spells sometime. That's what's up. You see how we create our own spells. That's the beautiful thing about us. We create our own spells. Capping, no cap. But these are type of spells that we get power from because we create them. And then we see Hollywood, we see the news trying to put in our spells so they can control it because they don't control the words when we come up with them. They try to add it so they can take the word back. So they put it on TV, they put them in movies because they want the power of the spells. Because when we create spells, we have the power of the words. Like, I don't think people realize a young boy on crack invented the thing, what is it? 24/7, 365. 1980, my friend and I were sitting in a room and we was watching the crack epidemic. ABC was doing some shit. And there was a young boy that obviously they had bought him crack, obviously. And he had no problem smoking it. He was hard to say how old he was, 14, 15, could be older. He looked young, but could have been older. And they were like, well, how often do you smoke crack? I mean, he's smoking crack in the old bottles. Remember the old crack pipes? Kind of looked like a bong, but you had to put the torch on it. The first ones, not the little straight shooters that came out later. The old kind that you had to put the torch on. He is smoking this, and they, between hits. So obviously they bought him some crack. So between hits, he blew it out, and they was like, well, how often do you do crack? And I was thinking, well, probably not as often as you guys bought it for him, but he said 24/7, 365. And the person didn't even know what he said. She's like, what does that mean? He was like, I smoke crack 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now think if that boy or somebody he knew would have copyrighted that. All the money now is 24/7 now. But think if he would have copyrighted that back in 1980. But he didn't. But I'm just showing you how they do shit. And that's how they do shit. They'll give you the drug and you do the drug and then they report in the epidemic, but they done provided you with either the money or the drug itself. And we know TV does that. Except these meth people. They don't do the meth people like that. Well, we got some of this ice for you, buddy. And don't say that they didn't try to make meth famous too. Because look at the movie Black Rain. Black Rain was the first movie that showed ice, which is crystal meth, but it looked like a sheet of ice, selenite almost. Why do you think they did that? Don't you know right now they say that the Nazis might have been the ones that invented meth? And they tell you that just the Nazi soldiers took meth. I've talked to World War II veterans. They had a very similar pill because meth don't make you hungry. Gives you tons of energy for days. I've talked to Americans that said they was taking the same shit. So it's interesting. I watched the History Channel and they push the shit. Oh shit, I'm over. They push the shit saying the Nazis took the shit, but they give excuse for Americans. Don't tell you that Americans was giving the people the same thing. So they don't want to eat and can keep going. This is the country, but that's how the propaganda goes, and that's how you can tell when shit is propaganda. Well, what time is it? Oh shit, it's this late? Ah, prisms, believe it. Yeah, Earth is a prison planet. You can go back to Dr. Valentine's work, and he talks about the prism, exactly like MJ wrote. Prism, prison. It is. Well, Dr. Valentine talked about why would pure beings try to come here? This is a parasitic, such a parasitic reality that this reality we live in. Everything wants to eat on top of everything. Everything wants to eat everything else. When it was tree world, wasn't really like that. You got the water tree, and the water you drink from the water tree was all you needed. So you didn't have to parasite on anything. And then the first beings that was on this planet, I mean, they just the primal water. They could build structures from the primal water. They didn't eat it all. Even my South American creation experience, the beings for a long time didn't eat it all either. Again, we go in the cave, we come back out, and civilization just like that. But their beings were created just to live off the sun or the water or the air. That was all you needed. You didn't need to physically eat anything. There are people that live in the equator that don't eat. They might eat a little broth. That's it. No sugars, no starches, none of that. And these cats don't really eat. The sun will feed you. That's why it's good to sun gaze first in the morning and then sun gaze at night. You can kind of get fed. Now, the problem is we got a lot of sun simulators. So are you feeding off the simulator or are you feeding off the real sun? Because we have simulators. Again, I've told the story. I've caught the two suns before. It was cloudy one day, and there was the closer looking sun, and then the sun went right behind it. Like that's not normal. But it shows the simulators. They do use simulators on us. Like this cold right now, which is good. It feels like hell. I mean, hell is cold. Hell ain't hot. Hell is cold. And that's kind of what's outside my window. Hell. Because it is -9. No, okay, got warmer. -6. Wind chill factor of -17. No, feels like -17. Light snow with minor accumulations. Wind chill advisory. Wind chill advisory. That's right there. That's telling you. You don't want to be stuck in this shit. That's why they tell people to keep extra blankets and clothes in your car in case you break down. A lot of people used to do it all the time in this part of the country. It's a habit a lot of people don't do anymore. But it's a thing. Like I tell my son, it's like he'll jump in cars with his friends and don't be dressed. Like his friend, one of the boys off the or young men off the reservation has a 19 Escalade or no Navigator. He's like, we're not going to be outside. We're going to be in this 19 Navigator. I'm like, what if it breaks down and you're outside and you wearing shorts and a t-shirt? What do you think is going to happen to you if you got to walk? Hard for young people to understand that. But, yeah, -6, -17 wind chill. It's interesting too, because what'll happen is the cool thing about masks is you wear them outside definitely because it keeps that shit off of here. Because when the frostbite kind of comes, it tries to attack any exposed skin. And when it's like the other night, I went and got mail and came back and like this shit in here was so stiff because I didn't really wear a mask or anything. And it's like it just attacks you. And it's like almost little knives cut you. It's like it's the funniest thing, the way it makes your skin feel. And the thing I struggle with is with asthma, it is really when it's really cold, it affects your lungs going up and down. And with asthma, that first blast of breathing that cold ass air in my chest, it's like my chest doesn't really want to expand. It's really a one thing that I do suffer from when I do go out in cold like this, because that first breath of that cold ass air, my lungs don't really want to work right. And so I have to carry an inhaler because, again, I've been here for 14 years, so I'm used to it. But yeah. And yeah, you know what Richard Pryor was saying is like, people ain't racist. It gets so cold, people stop being racist. It's like, I'll be racist tomorrow. I'll be racist in April. Because people is just moving, you know, outside. People ain't playing. They ain't lingering outside of their cars. That's why I laugh when it get cold like this and people are scraping ice in the mornings. I'm like, hell no, I ain't going through that. I'll keep the car in the garage. And this is no lie. When I picked up my son, it was -8. And it's funny, 5 minutes away. I mean, the whole trip takes us 10 minutes, if that. Probably 8 minutes to go pick him up, bring him back home. But in my garage is almost 20 degrees warmer than outside. So when I sat in my car, I think it showed 12 above zero. And as soon as I backed up and shut my garage and then took off, you could just see the shit dropping. The digital shit is like 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, -1, -2, -3, -4. But that's what it's living like in the Great White North. Well, guys, I guess I'm going to call it. As you know, I will now be broadcasting Wednesday morning. This is my one night I do take off is Wednesday morning. If I do anything, it'll be early in the day, but I doubt it. I doubt I'll do anything. And so, again, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me during the live action. I think we're going to do a little more of the live action sports. I might even do a basketball game. And try to maybe a regional game, a national televised game. So Thursday might be a good day because I think everybody can get, the nationally televised games and not just the Timberwolves, because they show every Timberwolf game comes on around here. And so maybe I'll do that. We'll look at the games and point out the manipulation. Instead of making a video, we can all watch it live, or we can all pick a game and catch the manipulation as we watch the game and how they do the games. Again, looking at the calls, looking at why this offense is run. Why did you drop the ball? I mean, you see all these things once you know what you're looking for, how they fix it. Just as we were able to see the things with the games. That's why I started saying this when I started. When I saw Gronk where he lined up, I said, he's crossing under. And sure enough, isn't that what they ran? I said they're going to cross Gronk across the face of the defense. And sure enough, he got the touchdown just like that. And I called it again from film study. And that's why I was disappointed in the Chiefs, because they run all that trips and none of the crazy motions. Andy Reid is the best coach in the league with running the crazy motions. They wasn't doing that shit. And when you see that, you understand that how the game is being manipulated. And these guys knew who was going to win and lose. They know the script. I mean, you down 3 touchdowns and you got Hill on the sideline on a missed pass attempt. He's smiling and laughing. It's like 4 minutes left. You see no hurry up in him. He has time to laugh and giggle. When you're losing, you're trying to hurry up. But you got time to smile. Everybody knows when you play real games and you losing like that, you concentrating. You ain't bullshitting when you losing like that. I mean, has anybody played games and cried? I lost the game as a JV. I had like 30 and we still lost. I sat in the shower and cried. It hurt me so bad. Now, again, the further you go, that those kind of things leave somewhat. As you go further in the ranks, you do lose some of that. But still. So, again, thank you for watching the Chocolate Mountain Show. I appreciate everyone that come. I appreciate anyone that ever watches my work. And as everyone knows, I am more than happy to debate different opinions and ideas. I'll never block people or stop them because you feel different. Long as you're respectful, like I was saying with this young lady on Facebook, long as your information is respectful and you don't try to attack, I have no problem with what you say. But when you attack, that means you ain't got nothing else to say but being personal. And that shows your ignorance. It shows that the information that you got is limited and you stuck. So as you know, I always end with Ishan. I do have my headphones. Yeah. I don't know, y'all. Isham should be. I don't know if a lot of people like the ICP. It's the same producers. Nodix. I know a lot of people don't know Nodix, but ICP probably more people heard of them because they did the wrestling shit. But Isham is part of all of them. He's one of the original Detroit rappers. But his poem goes like this: I'm not a New York rapper or a LA gang banger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. Make more money, more money. My pockets like sunshine, always sunny. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am 8 Wind is timeless. Till we meet again. Thank you all. Oops. Oh. Till we meet again.